Hello, everyone. It's the hardcore legend Mick Foley wishing a nice day to everyone there, right there at True Heel Heat. Yeah.
What's up, True Heel Heat? True Heel Heat.
What's up?
True Heel Heat.
All hands on me.
Yo, what up? You know what it is. It's your boy AJ Francis reporting to you live from New York City, the birthplace of hip-hop. And I'm telling you that I'm only tuned in with True Heel Heat Wrestling. Holla at me.
Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. We are live on the True Hill Heat YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for our WWE Elimination Chamber 2025 review. And yes, this is not only a review and breakdown of Elimination Chamber, this is the SP3 victory lap because I got what I wanted. I predicted it. I saw the vision. I saw it clear. The two-man Hollywood power trip is here. And John Cena, breaking news, John Cena is a heel for the first time in 22 years. I am joined today by my esteemed colleague, my co-host over on the True Hill Heat flagship podcast, as per usual, with our PLE and pay-per-view reviews. It's the good brother, the True Draw. Josh, how are you doing?
No, I'm doing great. And I also wanted to add that on December 21st, 2024, when I was asked about who would be Cody's opponent for WrestleMania Night 2, what would be a good headliner, I did say with my Mad Scientist booking to book Cena versus Cody. And I do feel like somebody in WWE watched that. Because there ain't no way they thought of this shit before that.
They all get their good ideas from True Hill Heat, it seems. But joining us today, I think this is one of the first times that he's joined us for a WWE PLE review roundtable, but he's a usual face that you see around here for our pay-per-view and PLE reviews, usually for AEW, but he's here for the Elimination Chamber and the John Cena heel turn victory lap. He is the professor himself, Dr. Kris Ely. How are you doing, Professor Kris? You're muted, by the way.
He's still muted.
He's still trying to talk, but he's muted. I don't. Are you still muted?
Yeah.
I don't know if he's having technical difficulties. I don't know what's going on. Maybe he has to unplug the mic. But I feel like he's rapping. Like it sounds like he's rapping, but I can't hear him. It's weird. And it's now he's muted again. But I hear you faintly. I hear you faintly now.
All right, let me take care of this shit. This has been a bad morning. The minute
Okay.
I was to do this.
Wait. I can hear him now.
You're getting louder. Now you're getting louder. You're getting louder as you talk.
All right. I'll try to hook up my microphone. Sorry, I didn't get any technical difficulties until 10 minutes before we were supposed to start. So my bad, man. Sorry. Those meta fuckers don't like me or something. So let me get
The meta fuckers. Goddamn motherfuckers. But yes, we're here. We're here to break down WWE Elimination Chamber Toronto Elimination Chamber 2025. We appreciate y'all for joining us live. Appreciate y'all if you're watching us on demand. Remember to show your appreciation back the simplest way possible is by dropping the thumbs up on this video. You can also share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you are new to the True Heel Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. And of course, sound off in the live chat. We love to interact with all of you guys, hear your thoughts on WWE Elimination Chamber 2025. I think one of Triple H's best PLE altogether, with a hell of an ending that will live on. Now, you'll probably be telling your kids about if they're wrestling fans all the like 20, 30 years from now. You're going to be talking about last night's show. But we got a couple of people already in the chat with us today, like Eric Isaac, who says, "Hey, THH fam, Elimination Chamber was a true masterpiece last night, as both Orton and Cargill return to get revenge on their attackers. And could we see both Superman Cena and Wonder Woman Bianca of WWE turn heel?" Interesting thought right there. We saw the John Cena one. We got to see if we'll see Wonder Woman, as you call her.
Masterpiece. Generous, but okay.
We got Savannah who says, "What a PLE last night. Wow." And then we got Bell in the chat who says, "Next time Rock says, shut up and enjoy the ride. I won't judge the destination till we get there. Just the plane ride over and the Rock's methods, especially if Terramana is involved." We got Davion in the chat who says, "Good afternoon, True Heel Heat Army. This was a very good show with so many strong stories to build on. We are officially on the road to WrestleMania. It took them long enough, but we are on the road to WrestleMania. Last night definitely felt like that." Are you all good now, Chris?
Do you hear me?
Faintly again. You were better before.
Check the StreamYard settings for like the volume. Did you check like the volumes and stuff?
Just check that on the back end. You'll be all right. We got our first here super chat donation from the good brother Vala B. Thank you so much, Vala B, for the support. He says, "John Cena is untouchable, but he's forcing you to feel him." Yeah, I was feeling John Cena for a while. Once The Rock came back, I was like, "Oh, they're gonna do it. They have to do it. That's the only way. The only way this any of this makes sense." His whole proposal to Cody, he had to have a corporate champion, and who better than John Cena? I went on the world tour. I went on Wrestle Talk the day after that SmackDown when he returned. I went on Fightful on the preview with Stephanie Chase. I convinced Stephanie Chase that was the right choice. I convinced Maggie on our preview that was the right choice. I even convinced Luke Owen on Wrestle Talk that was the right choice. So this is my greatest prediction yet. Makes me Negro Damas. I think Chris is still trying to talk, but either he's muted or he's cursing out StreamYard. There you go.
Microphone. Do I sound better without the microphone?
Yeah, we can actually hear you without the microphone.
Okay. All right, we'll leave it off. Yeah, this is one of those things where I think is gonna, at the end of the day, what we saw last night is gonna be more significant than whatever they do at WrestleMania. I really do believe that.
I mean, honestly, to me, after last night, you have to stick the landing. He has to get number 17 now.
Right.
He has to get number 17 as a heel, or this will be like it would have been like if Hollywood Hogan lost to the Giant at Hog Wild 1996. If he loses to if he just loses to Cody at WrestleMania, it's the equivalent of that.
Right. Yeah, because I mean, we'll get into it when we talk about the match, but yeah, this is a long time coming. They really should have turned they should have turned Cena heel years ago, in my opinion. But I think last night was perfect. Cena is an actor now. You know, this is what WWE is not what he does full time anymore. So this is I think good for everyone involved, and you could even play around with his retirement. He can say or do whatever he wants now that he's a bad guy. He doesn't have to be a man of his word, is the good thing about this.
Like, people have wanted this for the better part of 2 decades. When I was talking about the heel turn and bringing it up, I called it. It was the pro wrestling white whale. It was the white whale of pro wrestling for 20 years. It was the thing that none of us thought would happen because they were so stubborn at the height of his powers when he was the number 1 babyface. They never wanted to turn him. But the time was now. The time was up. The time was now, because you have the number 1 guy in Cody. You got a strong 1B in Roman Reigns, who's part-time. You have all these over baby faces like your CM Punks, like your Seth Rollins, like your Jey Usos. This was the right time to do this. And the fact that he's doing it with The Rock, and they are 2 of Hollywood's like elite, 2 of their biggest Hollywood stars, it just makes it that much better, that much more significant, and that much more of a headline for WWE. They're all over social media as well as mainstream news coming out of last night.
Yeah, I saw them on like ESPN's YouTube channel. They had a video up. I saw them on Sports Illustrated. Yeah, you see this thing all over the place. It was trending on Yahoo for a little bit last night. Yeah, so this is the one in the chamber. This is the silver bullet that they used at the right time. I don't think any other time in I don't think there was a better time than when they did it for this era, right?
Yeah. This was. I mean, like you said, they should have Cena maybe 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah,
but they did it at a time when not a lot of people were believing it, because this was his retirement tour. This is when you expected them to be like, hey, the fans want to cheer him. And the fans did want to cheer him. So that's why it was the perfect time to turn him, because you took away something that they wanted. They just wanted to cheer John Cena, have his little retirement tour, do his little pantomiming that he's been doing over the last couple of years. But now we're actually getting one last great John Cena story, and it involves The Rock, it involves Cody Rhodes, apparently it involves Travis Scott. This is as mainstream as it gets.
Yeah, the Travis Scott thing, I saw people online complaining about that. To me, that actually made the heel turn that much better, that Travis Scott is just randomly there throwing real hair.
It didn't make it better for me.
Just slap the crap out of Cody. Oh my God.
Yeah, it didn't make it better for me.
I don't know what you're on, Josh, man.
It did not make it better for me. I'm just calling it like it is.
This is like Travis Scott was like Dennis Rodman. He's Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, dude, that's exactly what it was to me. Was like Dennis Rodman there.
I don't see that. I don't see that.
He is as pop. I would say he's as popular as Dennis Rodman was when Dennis Rodman appeared on WWE. Dennis Rodman was
probably more.
Yeah, because Dennis Rodman was a role player for the Chicago Bulls. at their height. He was appearing on Nitro while they were in the playoffs playing the Jazz. So I think this was good, man. But I guess we'll dissect it when we get to that.
Yes. Of course, we got a couple more super chats to get to here. We got Negro Buck, Nick Jackson. Thank you so much, Negro Buck. He says, not going to lie, that might have been a 10 out of 10 show for me. Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
And sometimes when you have those like unbelievable endings, it leaves you like that. Like you think that's like a perfect show.
It's what matters the most on these wrestling shows I've noticed, especially when it comes to fans, is the last thing you do on the show. And that will, like, even if the rest of the show sucked, this show didn't suck, but even if the rest of the show did suck, the ending would have made that show a 10 out of 10, you know. And this show, I think, if the rest of the show was garbage, that ending makes it memorable and puts a rubber stamp on it.
Yeah, this is one event. It happened on March 1st. I guarantee this event is going to be in the running for show of the year.
Right. For me,
simply for the ending.
Yeah. And for me, I used to always put as my favorite heel turns was Hulk Hogan at number 1 and Shawn Michaels at number 2. And I actually think this one is going to move above Shawn Michaels. Just because of the significance of it, you know. This was nuts, man. I like you did, Sid. I've been calling this for years. I thought every return Cena made since 2007, whenever he had that whack ass match with the Undertaker at that WrestleMania, I thought 2018. So I thought it was just diminishing returns since then. I think this heel turn adds layers to Cena and to not just Cena, but to wrestling as a whole that it desperately needed, you know?
We do have another super chat donation here from our good brother who was on our watch party last night, Chilling with Chase. Thank you so much, Chilling with Chase, for the support and for your kind words, because unlike the host of last night's live stream, you actually gave me credit for my call and my prediction, unlike the other guy who would have hit us with 1,001 Nostradamus memes if he got it right. Chilling with Chase says, for staying the course, never giving up, being long gamers, believing what couldn't be seen would happen, called the Cena heel turn and didn't waver. Enjoy this lap. Thank you so much, Chase.
Right.
Thank you so much. I didn't flinch.
It was the only SP3. I did call it too. Me and Chrissy this as well. We did say that we were on board.
Well, you first went with Punk, and then you were like, no, actually it's Cena.
Yeah,
No. I know
you say you were joking, but I was the first.
Yeah, no, I went with Punk on a bullshit angle, but I did say Cena because, like I said, as far back as December, I did say Cena versus Cody, and I was sticking with that. I thought that was going to be the matchup. I stuck with it, and then what was it? A week or two later, they made the report that it was going to be Cena versus Cody because that was a backup plan. But it was more of a matter of how to get there.
The first report came out in like the beginning of December.
What happened?
Yeah. The first report of Cena and Cody came out in the beginning of December. It came out after, like, a month or two after the Bad Blood return of The Rock.
Yeah,
because that's when Meltzer started being like, Rock's not showing up for WrestleMania, and then that's when Shawn started searching for who was gonna face Cody.
Yeah, and then that was like legit a week before that. I said like that's a week after. That's when it was reported. After I said it.
I believe you, Josh.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm just saying, if everybody's gonna be giving flowers to SP3, I'm like, hey, where my flowers at?
Hey,
I mean, fuck flowers to begin with.
Hey,
but I'm just saying.
Hey, you can get your flowers too. I just called the Rock Cena being the Rock's corporate champion. Right, I did it even before that episode of True Hill Heat. I did it on Wrestle Talk.
Go ahead. Sorry about that.
No, go ahead.
No, I gave last night I called, no, I gave a super chat to my other employer post wrestling just to brag and say, I told y'all so. Because everybody there was telling me I was on crack for saying Cena was going to turn heel. And they actually talked me out of it a little bit up until last night when things
See,
started.
you should have never flinched.
I knew.
Never
No,
flinched.
I knew they were not flinching because the moment that Triple H talked about industry changing, like
Yeah.
that's kind of what you have to do when it comes to John Cena. Like that is a kind of an industry kind of thing because we haven't seen it in a long time, and the time that we did see Cena heel, I mean, it wasn't for very long. But then also he wasn't a top guy yet. Like he wasn't a top star. He only became a top star after he turned face, and that's when they basically gave him the keys after that.
Yeah. Cena's meteoric rise was like because he was at WrestleMania in 2003. Doing this shit where they were wanting to get Fabulous and Jay-Z and Fabulous were like, nah, we ain't doing that. And he had the cardboard cutouts out, and Cena was starting to get over with that hip hop persona, and then he got over as the hip hopper, and then Vince McMahon turned him into a corporate stooge and took away all the edge that made him a cool face and turned him into the Fruity Pebbles shirt wearing, the Make-A-Wish all the time. You are our corporate fucking stooge. Dance puppet is what they turned him into. And now this is like probably 22 years of aggression. He probably loves to get out at the moment, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was there for the whole rise of John Cena, and I remember like in 2003 when he was still a heel and he's feuding with like The Undertaker and Kurt Angle, and that's when he started getting like positive responses because the rap gimmick was getting over. I was like, this is WWE's new freaking The Rock. Like that was my thing. I thought he was like the new Rock, and then they made him into basically Hulk Hogan 2.0. So they ruined
it. And it's one of those things that if there was a WCW, I think they would have rode the wave of the hip hop stuff. The storm was perfect for the making of a corporate champion, right? Because there was no WCW. WWE was the only thing in town. Vince McMahon likes playing it safe. I really disagree with people who call this a risk, only because Cena's not full time anymore. This is not a risk anymore. This is like the best time to do it. But I think that this was something that was, it just needed to happen, man. And it's a good thing. I was not interested in seeing a Cena farewell tour in the traditional sense.
Neither. I was like, that's boring. Like I literally told everybody. I was like, Cena just being a babyface for this whole year would have been very boring. We already got boring Cena for the past decade.
Yeah, it made no sense. And it also kind of makes sense out of some of the, like even when he backdoored his way into the Elimination Chamber, because they could have easily just said, hey, Cena was the runner-up in the Royal Rumble. He was the last person eliminated. So that's why he gets the Elimination Chamber spot. But instead, they had Cena be like just strong arm his way in and say, I put in my work here. This is what's best for business. They did drop some clues, some breadcrumbs, let you know.
Yeah,
this was.
I mean, honestly, it was better that way It was better that way they did it because even if they go with that aspect of like, oh, you know, he was the runner up of the Elimination Chamber, I think you're kind of giving like that false thought of like going forward. Oh, Elimination Chamber. Oh, whoever is second in the Royal Rumble. Oh, they're just going to automatically go into Elimination Chamber, which pretty sure they're not going to do. But you know, with wrestling fans and WWE fans, you kind of give that false reality of like, all right, so this is what we kind of expect going forward with Elimination Chamber. So I'm kind of glad they went. I'm kind of glad they went that route with Cena being where he's at. He's saying like, no, I'm in that match. I'm putting myself in that match. I prefer that.
I like them doing that now that he turned heel. I like originally it just
even before that. Before that, I liked it because I was on board with it. No, I was on board with it because again, we needed some substance within what we were gonna get with WrestleMania. Now, the whole idea of Cena versus Cody, yeah, it was rumored. At the same time, it's like without the involvement of The Rock or anything else like that, we didn't know how we were gonna get there. Like we didn't know how it was going to get there, how the buildup was going to be. So the fact that he did that still made it more interesting because it was kind of like, oh, this is something he's never really done before. So it made that interesting, regardless, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, we disagree on that.
Oh, we got a super chat donation here from Christopher Kidd. Thank you so much, Christopher Kidd, for the support. He says 16 reigns as a face, give us 17th as a heel, as a tribute to the fans after all this time. We needed this. It's a lot late, but we finally got it. Finally here. I see Bell in the chat who's saying like this is the moment of the year. Yeah, it's gonna be hard pressed for anything else to top this for moment of the year. Like it's very hard. Like literally, I think like we got 3 kind of big moments of the year like last year with Sting's retirement and Bryan winning at Wembley Stadium and Cody finishing his story. I don't know how you can top John Cena after 22 years turning babyface, going from babyface to heel. How can you top that? I don't know. And with the names involved, with The Rock, the #1 star in Hollywood, with Travis Scott, one of the top names in music, a Grammy Award winner, and with Cody Rhodes, the face of WWE, like I don't know how you're going to top that as far as like mainstream buzz, as far as like headlines, as far as like big value for the hardcore fans, for the casual fans. Like this checks all the boxes.
Yeah, you don't top it. I think this is
I kind of feel your argument that whatever they do at WrestleMania, how is it going to top this? Yeah.
Because I mean, Cena's got to win. I'm interested to see in the build. To the best of my knowledge, Cena's not going to be back on WWE TV until March 17th. That's actually not a super long time. It's like a couple weeks. And they've got time to tell a story, to cultivate a story while he's away. Like, you know, tie up loose ends.
He's probably going to be at MSG. MSG
right.
So, but that's on the 10th. So he's most likely being on that one too. Mm-hmm. So that's probably going to be sooner.
Yeah, probably.
We got Dave Meltz. I guess this is Dave Meltz's burner account. He says, dude, Travis Scott is a global musician. Everyone in high school listens to Travis Scott. If you have the magnitude like that and bring that fan base to watch WWE, that is really pure genius.
Right. Dude, like, college students, they fucking love him for some reason. I don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, because they're weird like him. That's why.
Yeah. But I mean, look, man, this is their music.
They're weird like him. Now, is it gonna really drive more fans? So I mean, I don't know. I think that's always the idea, but I
I do know for a fact it is. It is.
I mean,
I sent it to my nephew, 20, who's 22 years old. And I said, it might be time for you to watch wrestling again. He said, yes, it is. And then he asked me, he was like, Monday and Friday, right? And I told him they had Netflix on Monday, USA on Friday. And then he messaged me later. He was like, yo, I just sent it to all my friends. He was like, I'm over here tripping that John Cena's a heel. They're over here tripping that Travis Scott was in there. So it is a big thing for 20-year-olds. Travis Scott is probably the thing that makes them want to watch WWE being a part of it. So,
right.
We'll see. We'll see.
You on this, Sid, because I don't know a whole lot of Travis Scott songs. I just notice my.
Well, I don't know a lot of songs myself. I
see the way college students react to this guy. And he had like a McDonald's meal for a minute. He's pretty mainstream, you know. I wouldn't put him quite on the level of Bad Bunny, because Bad Bunny is internationally is just out of this world. But Travis Scott is like he is gonna be the guy for a lot of people, you know.
We got Nate, our brother Nate in the chat. Thanks for joining us. Nefarious Nate Milton, who says, I said the same thing last night. Said he's the Dennis Rodman for this era. When he finally catches that crossroads, it's going to feed generations. It's going to be viral. It's going to be a viral clip. It's going to be awesome.
Right, yeah. I agree, but we are gonna have to see it. But yeah, I definitely agree, man.
I think that's where I'm more so at with that. Yeah. I think that's more. I was like, I gotta see it before. I'm like, because we could compare shit that's happened like in the 90s and like early 2000s, but then it's like really not the same in 2025. So we'll see. I just don't think it's gonna be like that big of significance of everything. But that's just me. Maybe I'm more old school. You know. Because and like I said before, I didn't. Him being there was kind of just like, okay, why did they just add him there? Like that's just how I feel about it. He just looked like a complete dork out there. Like it was just like, why is he there? That's how I
loved him lifting Cody when he was supposed to hold him down. That was awesome.
Right.
He was fucking up too. I think he even threw like a punch or like a smack or something. I was just
smacked the shit. He smacked the shit. We already said that. He smacked the shit out of Cody. That was awesome.
Did you see the clip that's going around? And this is going viral where he punches Cody. That was a fucking punch.
That was the shoe. That was a shoe punch.
Like what the hell? It's like, does this dude not know this shit is not real? You know, you punch this guy. I think it's great, man.
Cody's face was puffed up, and I think part of it was from that slap, not the punches with the Rolex. Chilling with Jason says, I told everyone on the watch along to give THH credit for the only channel to stick the course of Cena heel turn. Yes, you did, Chase. I appreciate you. I heard you. We got I Make Beats. He says, soon as SP3 mentioned the Hollywood duo, I was hooked. We also got here All in the Game. He says, Cena, after every other move, keeps having to sweep his hair back to cover up his ever-growing bald spot. Can see him making that trip to Turkey soon to address the issue. I mean, if it allows him to wrestle without doing that 100 times, I'm here for it. We also got here in the chat, kicking it with Leo, excuse me, who says, I feel like Liv is always going to be the bridesmaid, never the bride. With her never winning the Rumble or Chamber, is she ever going to win one? She always right there. Seems like she's so close, yet so far. She was women's world heavyweight champion for like 6 months.
Yeah,
like 8 months.
Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing about, like, what? We're going to act like she wasn't champion last year? Like, what the fuck are we doing? So what if she comes close? Right. I mean, she's lucky she's come that close. She's not that good.
Yeah.
So, like, what are we doing? What are we fucking doing?
Yeah.
Honestly, what are we?
Josh is cranky today.
Like, what are we complaining about? Like, what is this? What is this complaining about? Oh, she came close to this or that. Who gives a fuck? She's been a 2-time champion more times than I thought she would be. So who gives a fuck? Like, if she's close or not. She has a tag title. Who cares?
Yeah, I agree with Josh. I think Liv Morgan is not an attractive match with Rhea Ripley. I think Bianca Belair and Rhea is the better match to put on. And that's what you put on, man. It's that simple. I don't think you gotta overguess this shit.
But then also, who the fuck wants to see Rhea live again? I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't either. I will say before we even get into the matchup, Liv was the MVP of that match. I'll say it. I'll put it out there. Liv was the MVP of that match. She held that shit down last night. James Jones says, "I broke my heart. This broke my heart. This was the Cena we all wanted, and he's not gonna be here long." I love. Shout out to Russell Gibbs. Russell Gibbs. It was a big YouTube channel. He had a whole YouTube video, his reaction, because he was there live. He had a whole YouTube video of him nearly like crying because John Cena turned heel.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, here's the thing with the Cena thing. I mean, now that he's turned heel, he could realistically adjust his retirement day. He could say, I'm gonna, he could stay until the Royal Rumble now. Heels lie, and heels are not people of their word. The heels are dishonorable people. So I
think character-wise, I get it.
I mean, it's like, I'm not. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I mean, shit, man. I mean, everyone before yesterday thought Cena was gonna just be this honorable guy that everyone was gonna cheer, and now look at us now. We're talking and debating this shit. Was Travis Scott good? Was he bad? Like,
I think,
yeah. So I mean,
I think Cena. I think Cena. I don't think he's gonna go further than what he said he's gonna go. I think he has a set date that he's gonna officially retire. I mean, he did say, and like last year, and like I brought it up a few times on Chill Heat, he did mention that he's gonna he has a job with corporate already, basically with WWE. So once he retires, he's still gonna be working with them behind the scenes and whatever kind of he might even become a board member. Who knows? So he's still gonna be within the WWE bubble. It's just a matter of what he's going to be doing. I don't think he's going to be as on screen because he does have more projects coming up. I know he does have several films scheduled for next year. So I mean, he's going to be filming a lot. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I necessarily don't think he needs to like prolong anything. I think this is a set time. I think this is a set, like if you're getting like 40 dates from John Cena, and most of it is going to be a heel run. I'm fine with it. You don't really need to see it, right? Because even if it's good, at least it gives you one of those things where it's like, oh, I want to see more of it. And then by the time he comes back on screen, then you're enjoying it. So it's not going to be like convoluted, like to the point like where The Rock, you've had the final boss shit last year, and then this year he's kind of like, I don't know, he's just been drunk and all over the place. And I mean, it's a good thing that the destination landed yesterday, at least. Like one part landed, but his on-screen appearances haven't been that positive this year.
I was laughing because Corey said Cody needs to bring a rapper of his own, someone on the level of relevancy and success as Travis Scott. He needs to bring in Ja Rule. That's not funny. Come on, Travis Scott is much bigger than Ja Rule.
He said Ja Rule. I mean, I don't like Travis Scott, but even I know like Ja Rule's a fucking scrub. Like to even like say that, like the fuck, that was just weird.
You got some supporters in the chat. Look at Greg Carter saying, "Preach, Josh." Davion says, "Josh ain't having it." LOL. We got Nefarious Nate Milton says, "Damn, Josh, them Morgan stands ain't finna let you live this down."
And I don't give a fuck. That's the thing, though. I don't give a fuck. They could complain all they want. Like, you think I give a fuck? Hell no. Hell no. They could be all mad all they want. Like, you're telling me that fucking reign last year was great? Hell fucking no. That shit was trash.
And we got one last super chat donation before we get into the show proper. Christopher Kidd, thank you so much for the super chat donation. He says, Josh is showing his wrestling purist soul today, and I'm here for it. Liv has over accomplished, and Travis in a main event title story isn't for the purists. No, it's not. It's not for the purists. It's for the casuals. That's literally what it's for. Like, we should know this.
Yeah.
When has WWE ever been?
Yeah, which again, my
exactly.
thing. Yeah,
when has WWE ever been for purists?
Yeah, my thing about like when it comes to WWE and using celebs, my thing is I'm not really against that because like I know what they're going for, right? I know what they're about, right? And that's always been a thing. So I've never been against that. I'm not a fucking gatekeeper where a lot of fans where like they feel like wrestling needs to be gatekeeped when it comes to like celebs and all this shit and the outside stuff, right? I just don't think it was that good. That's just all it was.
Here's my thing, Christopher Kidd. If let's say this was a real life thing and I was in the ring and The Rock and John Cena were beating down Cody Rhodes, I would have got some hits in also, just because, man. And that's real, man. It just is what it is. So I mean, everybody's built and wired differently, but yeah, I'd have gotten a few elbow drops on Cody Rhodes.
You gonna throw the elbow like Snoop Dogg did.
Exactly. See, we can't go in on these rappers and art and musical artists if they're gonna try to wrestle. We can't go on them if it looks soft and it looks fake, like how Snoop Dogg did, and then if it looks too real, like if Travis Scott did. Like we gotta understand there's not gonna be a balance. There's not gonna be an in between. It either has to look very real or it has to look fake.
Yeah, because my thing too is like when he do the hit, I was just like, damn, like. You know, it was just more funny than anything because I'm just like, yo, the man bleeding, he got bladed and everything, and he gonna throw like that real fucking hit. It was like he's already fucked up, and then you just throw a real punch.
Mollywop him,
like, yo,
that was wild.
I was like, what the fuck? I was like, anything on that aspect, like I get it, like you know, and again, I just don't think the guy knew what he was doing, and it's okay. Sometimes people don't know what the fuck they're doing, and I think that was just an indication of they probably told him, hey, throw this punch, but they probably never
they
really...
didn't tell him that. I can almost guarantee you, Josh.
No, I'm saying that they probably told him something.
I watched it 5 times. I will tell you what they told him. Rock tells him if you listen in and you slow it down, Rock tells him, hold him down. This dude starts punting in his face, starts bringing him up here. Yeah. Then Cena has to forcefully put Cody into place so he can hold him down. Rock tells him again, hold him down. And what does he do? He doesn't. He holds him down for a second and then just straight mollywop. No one told him to do that. No one.
I mean, who knows? I mean, as in like their cues, like backstage or like what they said. Hey, you do this or that.
Oh no.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. But then also, if that's true, right?
If they gave him
if that's true, I mean, if that's true, right? If he did something basically, you could say off script, or he didn't listen, that necessarily isn't a good look for him either. Then, because it's like you did something you weren't supposed to do. You know, in wrestling, if somebody did that, or a worker did that, it won't.
I mean, he's already done that. But the first appearance that he's ever been on wrestling, he did that already. There was they didn't tell him to smoke a blunt on the Raw premiere on Netflix. They didn't tell him to do that. Funny. He just decided to do that. That's Travis Scott. You got to understand who you're working with.
Yeah.
Yeah. When it comes to the wheat thing, I mean, that was
this thing was all funny. Over my local news last night. It's all over ESPN, all over SI. They got the juice that they needed to get from this, man. It's that simple. You can try to deny it, but it is. And for me, someone who's not always a big fan of the sports entertainment shit, I see why this is relevant. I do, and I think that in an age where you're not really getting pop celebrities to jump on any kind of wrestling bandwagon, it's when you got a guy like a Travis Scott, you got to utilize him for all you can.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah, I mean, I get it. It doesn't mean I like it, but I get it. That's just where I'm at with it. Because honestly, when it comes to WWE, especially what they've been doing lately with Netflix, and they're showing like a bunch, they're showing like all these guys, the celebs in the crowds and shit. It's just like to me, it's getting kind of exhausting when it comes to that aspect. It's just like, you know what I mean? Like you keep showing them, we get it. They're fucking paid to be there because I know for a fact WWE pays them to be there. You're fucking showing them on TV, and it's just like, oh, like we fucking get it. You're getting these fucking rappers, you're getting these celebrities. It just fucking feels forced. It just it not only forced, but then it's like, it comes off very like they're trying to be like coach vultures or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's why I'm getting a little tired of it, because it's just like we get it. Like yesterday, right? And they were showing like all the people in the crowd, right? Even though the funniest part though was that they had Aubrey Graham in the crowd, and they didn't mention him once.
Yeah. I don't think they want that.
Yeah,
fuck Drake.
They didn't want that. They didn't want that smoke. They didn't want that. They was
and,
like,
and he was behind commentary. He was behind commentary, so they showed him a few times.
Yeah. But this is celebrity farming. What WWE does with their celebrities coming in. And Seth. It's one thing. It's one thing if weed is legal in WWE. It's another thing to smoke it on camera. There's a difference.
I mean, not only on camera.
That's what I mentioned. Was what Travis Scott did was definitely he was not told. Yeah. He was not told to smoke weed on camera.
Yeah, right. The thing is, it has nothing to do with like if it's legal or not in WWE. That's a different aspect. Weed is legal as in like if wrestlers get drug tested, then it's legal. That's what that means. It doesn't mean you could fucking smoke on camera or in a building that's probably not allowed. Smoking's not allowed in the building, and he did it.
Right.
So that's why it's kind of even more funny because it has nothing to do with it's legal here or not. It's like no, when you're in a facility. There's things you can't do in the facility, and he did that anyway.
Yeah, that and they're partnered up with like corporate sponsors. They're partnered up with like charities like Make-A-Wish and I think St. Jude's or Shriners or one of those. And that wasn't what he was supposed to be doing on this show.
But Travis Scott has never been the brightest guy.
Yeah,
he hasn't been the brightest guy. Like we all know about that incident. I ain't gonna talk about it, but we all know, so he has I don't want to say he has a shady past, but he doesn't make the best decisions. And obviously that wasn't the best decision that he made that night.
So let's get into the show. First up, what did you guys think about the crowd in Toronto at the Rogers Center, Kris?
I think for the most part, they were an obedient crowd. They did what they were supposed to do. I will say Pat McAfee is going to be my LVP for this show.
Pat McAfee may objectively be the worst commentator in pro wrestling right now.
Right.
Oh, he is.
Like
what he did was tone deaf. What he did was complete tone deaf. I did not like.
Let's not pretend that the United States of America is a babyface around the world. We are the biggest fucking heels on the planet. We've got the goofiest leader, the dumbest leader who hired the dumbest sycophants on the planet. We're gonna get booed if you play our fucking national anthem at any place that's not like a super red state in the United States of America. That's just not popular right now. Pat McAfee whining and crying about it and shit makes him look like a dumbass. So I'll say that about the Toronto crowd. They should have booed that anthem just because of what it means at the moment. As for the show crowd, I think they did a good job. Even with the Cena heel turn, they at first kind of cheered it, but then they kind of fell in line and did what I think was needed for Cena in that moment. The "You Sold Out" chants. the reaction, the Cody dropping the F-bomb on the pay-per-view, they were a very, very good crowd. I don't think you could have asked for a better crowd if you're WWE last night.
What about you, Josh? What do you think about the crowd in Toronto?
Basically the same thoughts. When they got like super quiet, they got maybe a little too quiet, in my opinion. But things that they got excited about, they got excited about. So I mean, in that aspect, it was good. As far as the national anthem kind of thing, I put the fault on WWE for that.
Yeah,
more so because a couple of weeks ago there was a USA versus Canada hockey game. I forgot what it was. I think it was like the NHL or something going on, right? I'm not too sure, but there was a hockey game played in Canada, and the national anthem was booed. And it was big news. Like it got on the news that it got booed, right? So my thing is like, do you think this is a great idea to push this right now? Like, do you think that's a great idea to do that? So to me, that's on them. Like they, that poor singer. I mean, she did her best. She navigated well. So I give her credit for that because they got louder when she started singing it. They got louder. The boos got louder. And obviously they cheered for the Canadian theme as they should. They sang the Canadian theme. But when it comes to that, I was fine with it. The state that the country is in is not in a good. It's not where it needs to be. Everybody being divided on how they feel and how things are going. You're going to have people say, hey, it was disrespectful to what they did and all this stuff. To me, it was kind of like, we kind of deserve it at the moment.
I mean, we started the president started a trade war with Canada, with their country. They disrespected their prime minister, disrespected their leadership, disrespected the way they organize in Canada. The president shit on Canada. So this was that crowd's message to the administration. You are tone deaf. You don't fucking understand that if you're someone in WWE.
Yeah, when Pat McAfee did that, I was just like, bro, like, what are you fucking doing? And he brought it up like multiple times. That's what
I'll be honest. That wasn't the worst thing he did.
No, it wasn't.
Him trying to make a joke about Dominic Mysterio during the unsanctioned match. That's when I was like, "Oh, you fucking suck! You like get this dude off. You're not funny. You're not funny." Like the fact that Wade Barrett did not laugh, but he was probably told in his headset to be like, "Oh, that was funny." No, it wasn't. Like, this is supposed to be a serious match. You got two best friends that are trying to kill each other, and you have to make, "Oh, he got hit with Dominic Mysterio."
Yeah, I don't know that whole thing. I don't know. I don't know who told him to do that. As in like reacting to like the national anthem. I don't know who told him to do that. And then the fact that he even did it multiple times, like he kept bringing it up. Like he brought it like 3 or 4 times during the night. It's just like, bro, we fucking get it. The fucking national anthem got booed. Like, who cares at this point? It's like, you're still there, so who cares? Like, you're still fucking like you're still there. You still got to do your job. And if you don't like it, then maybe you should fucking see what's going on in the world.
Right, yeah.
I mean, we all know what side Pat leans on. It's been obvious for a long time, so I'm not surprised that he complained about it. Right. But it's just, it's one of those things where it's like, when you become that tone deaf and you're doing it on a national broadcast, then it's like, whatever criticism you get, that's what it is. You got to deal with it. But if you're one of those, you're like, I don't understand why, I don't know what's going on, then it's like, that's on you. That it's similar to what was this guy? There's a guy in wrestling, I forgot his first name, but his last name is Moody, right? What's his name? I think he used to be like a commentator or somebody.
Sean
Mooney. He fucking was like, I don't understand why people are still like against Hulk Hogan? Like, what's the big deal? Like, why do I'm not like that's the fucking problem. If you don't know, then that's a problem. If you don't know why, like what the
literally, I had fucking spam accounts, people with Twitter accounts that don't have their face on it, coming at me because I commented under some account that was like, oh, I don't get why people are upset that Drake is at the show. He's a mainstream mapper. Just because there's a couple of memes and a diss song, he's not supposed to be there. And I was like, you should probably do your research on Drake. If you don't get it, you should probably do your research on Drake and understand why it's probably not a good look for WWE to have him there. And I had shooters. I had these people calling me, you say, you fucking dork, you're a fucking asshole, you're a fucking dickhead. I was like, I just gave them gift responses and then blocked them before I went to sleep. Like I was like, I'm not dealing with you. I'm not gonna go back and forth with you, fucking Drake shooters. Like, get the fuck out of here. But yeah. We got also in the chat here, we got Myron Kidd who says, yet people say that Booker T is the worst. At least he's funny and entertaining. Yeah, that's the key. Booker is not good at wrestling commentary either, but he's entertaining. Right,
yeah. And he's on the show that people watch the least, man. So it's like Booker T is, I stopped complaining about Booker T a long time ago. Obviously.
Yeah. And it's a big difference,
yeah, somebody there likes him, and it's one of those things where if you're gonna watch NXT, know that Booker T comes with that shit, man. You can either accept it or you.
It's kind of like with JBL. Like JBL was terrible, but there was times where JBL was entertaining. Just because you're entertaining doesn't mean that you're good at it. There's people who are good. I think like this dude Vic. I think he's good. But then there's times where like he comes off corny, like when he tries to oversell something, or like, you know, he kind of like he seems like a fucking like dad who tries to make like a cool joke, and it's just like, bro, you don't need to do that. Just be yourself. And I feel like Pat, because of the inexperience, he tries to overcompensate something, and sometimes it comes off flat. Sometimes it's funny, but then sometimes it's just very flat. Well, Booker T is almost the same thing, but Booker T I think is more of like, you could say he's kind of like a low-cal kind of thing. Like people just find it like they look at Booker T just to laugh because they know he's just gonna say something fucking stupid.
This is a true story. A couple years ago, it might have been last year, I don't remember. Me and Romeo were tweeting amongst ourselves about how goofy Booker T was, and Booker T found the tweets and responded to him, and I'm like, this Negro doing.
Yo, I think I remember that. Did he respond with the eye emojis? I think it was the eye emojis, right?
Yeah. I was like, he's this dude vanity searching himself or something.
I literally, I don't think I've told this story before, but when I used to do the podcast with Sadie Nyangi and Alex McCarthy for Inside the Ropes, I had Booker T's podcast host hit me up in the DM because I called Booker T an Uncle Tom. Because this was when Booker T was big on his podcast of doing a grifting shit, talking about AEW when he's paid by WWE to fucking talk trash about them. And I was like, he's a fucking Uncle Tom. He's just trying to impress his fucking slave owners and get inside the house and be I went in on him and he was like, would you like to come on and say that to Booker's face? I was like, yeah, tell me when. And he never got back to me. Never got back to me. So I was like, I don't give a fuck. Like, that's what he was doing. And notice he doesn't do that anymore. Good job, Booker. But yes, we got the opening matchup, which was the women's elimination chamber matchup. You got Alexa Bliss, Bayley, Liv Morgan, Roxanne Perez, Bianca Belair, Naomi, all in this one. The match started off with Naomi and Liv Morgan in the ring, but before we could ring the bell and right after we rang the bell and we're about to get things going, I don't know why the referees didn't just close the door of the chamber, but the chamber door is still open and the music of Jade Cargill hits. She comes out to a huge reaction from this Toronto crowd. She was dressed in all black. I love the fact that Bianca and Naomi were in all white to kind of have the juxtaposition there. Jade comes down as soon as the bell rings. She managed to get into the ring before they closed the cage. Morgan was acting all scared. As soon as Jade gets in the ring, Liv is basically trying to like guard herself, put her hands up, but instead Jade goes right after Naomi. She attacks her and beats the ever-living crap out of Naomi, beating her all around the outside of the ring. She threw her into the pods, into Alexa Bliss pod a couple of times. She stomped Naomi in the corner, tossed her into the pods, booted her into a pod. We get "You Deserve It" chants from the fans as Naomi is beaten to almost a pulp here. She tried to crawl out of the cage, but Jade comes over and slams the sliding door right on Naomi's neck. Belair is completely freaking out. She is just panicking, banging on the pods. She's going crazy inside the pods. I think the person that sold this the best was Alexa Bliss, who just had the look like, oh no, on her face as this was all going down. Liv Morgan was also awesome with her reaction, just laughing. She then went over to Bianca, who was all distraught in her pod, being like, I told you so. They brought a stretcher for Naomi and announced that she was no longer able to compete, so she was eliminated from the Elimination Chamber. Belair just happened to be the next person into the ring. She immediately checked on Naomi, which allowed Liv to attack her from behind. Belair went at it with Liv for a while before Roxanne Perez was the next in, just 3.5 minutes later. Bailey was the next entered in only 3 minutes later. They were completely just rushing through the intervals here. They were not doing 5-minute intervals because I think this was scheduled out to be a 40-minute matchup, and it wound up being like less than 30. So 5 of like the 6 ladies were in less than 11 minutes into the matchup. Perez power bombs Bailey into the hard surface and then hits a beautiful looking frog splash, but only gets a 2. Morgan caught Perez with a code breaker. Alexa Bliss was the last in, about 14.5 minutes into the matchup. She went after Liv for a while. She got a good reaction coming out. She ran wild on Liv, Roxanne, and Bailey. Everyone got involved. Bailey gave Belair and Bliss a low cross body onto the hard surface. Morgan shoved Bailey into a pod, but Bailey gave her a rose plant right on the outside. Perez caught Bailey in a crossface, but she managed to escape. Bailey tossed Perez out of the ring, and this led to Liv Morgan. She was able to hit Bailey with the Oblivion after she got rid of Roxanne out of the ring. She gets hit with that, and 19 minutes in, we get our second elimination. Bailey is out of it, eliminated by Liv Morgan. Belair and Morgan were on opposite sides of the ring, and Belair chased after Liv, climbing up one of the pods. And then we get the spot of the matchup as Liv kept grabbing at Bianca's hair, even from the beginning when Belair comes out of the pod. She grabs at her hair when she's about to fall off the top of the pod, which just Bianca just has enough. And this is the key with when Bianca uses her braid. She only uses her braid if you try to use her braid too much. I love that psychology of the braid that is with Bianca, because she completely whips the shit out of Liv Morgan. The sound echoed across this arena. That popped a relatively quiet crowd up to this point, and I thought they were more involved in the matchup after that point. Morgan wound up with a pretty bad bruise on her stomach. She was completely just fucked up by that fucking hair whip spot. Belair hit Perez, Bliss, and Morgan with a crossbody off the pod. They traded moves until Alexa Bliss was able to hit the Twisted Bliss on Perez to eliminate her. So we were down to 3. Liv hits the 3 amigos on Bianca and went for a 619, but Bliss caught her. They traded counters until Belair was able to catch Liv in a cradle for a 2 count. Bliss hit Belair with her new version of the Sister Abigail, the Abigail DDT. DDT, but then Liv comes in and gets a jackknife pin on Alexa to eliminate her. So we're down to 2. It's Liv and Bianca. Pretty much the story of the matchup was Liv and Bianca from the beginning to the end here. We get Belair was still down from the Abigail DDT. Liv tries to get a cover, but Belair is able to kick out. She then uses Belair's braid as a slingshot, bouncing her back and forth into the chain link fence. That was a great spot as well. Bianca fought back. She pounced Liv, and then Bianca swung Liv repeatedly into the pods in a powerbomb form, and then powerbombed her over the ropes back into the ring. She was holding her in a certain way that basically was exposing Liv at the same time. If you go back and watch it for all you perverts, then she goes to the top rope. She goes for a 450 splash, but Morgan's able to get her knees up. Liv hits a code breaker and then tries for Oblivion. She kept trying for Oblivion. Bianca would reverse it. Bianca kept trying for KOD, but Liv would reverse it until she went for an Oblivion, and then Bianca reversed that into the KOD. 1, 2, 3. Bianca Belair is the winner of the Elimination Chamber matchup. I thought Bianca in this one was great. I thought Liv was really the glue of this matchup, and she was completely battered by the end of this matchup. She had marks and bruises all over her body from the cage as well as from the hair whip, but really they were the glue of this matchup. Everyone else kind of was just there. Alexa Bliss got a big reaction, and it felt like they did set something up with her and Liv that they could follow up on, and Bayley and Roxanne continued their rivalry here, and of course the Jade Cargill big return at the beginning of the matchup really started it off strong. But Bianca Belair is on her way to WrestleMania, where she will either face the WWE Women's World Champion Rhea Ripley or her opponent this coming Monday on Raw and Netflix, Io Sky. And speaking of which, we had Rhea come out first to have a stare down with Bianca, and then Io Sky joined them to make sure that they didn't forget about her as well. So the question coming out of this is, are we going to get finally, after 3 years of them building it, Bianca versus Rhea at WrestleMania? Do you think that there's going to be a no contest on Monday between Rhea and Io, and we're going to get a triple threat matchup, or will Io win so we can get Io and Bianca? A lot of different directions they can go after Monday Night Raw. But this match here, I thought was really a bunch of fun. This was an absolute blast to watch. You got the big, impactful beginning of the matchup with Jade Cargill and her attack on Naomi, basically revealing that Naomi was the assailant, was the attacker, or at least that's what Jade thinks, because there is people that have gone online and showed that when Jade's music hit, Naomi looks at Bianca like, oh shit, we got caught. Like, so is Bianca involved in this? Are we going towards a Bianca heel turn? So you can go in any different direction with that, but I thought that Bianca Belair was the right choice to win. I thought the match was a blast, especially the combination of Bianca and Liv. I gave this match 4 stars. Josh, what did you think about the Women's Elimination Chamber match?
The match was fine. You know, it was kind of fast paced. As in, like, it did feel short for an Elimination Chamber match, right? It was like less than 30 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So it kind of, I think that was kind of noticeable, but I think they kind of needed that because a lot of the problems lately, the women's, like with the kind of like with War Games or the Royal Rumble, was that it comes too clunky, too convoluted. Right. So I feel like the way that they paced it was a lot better because we didn't really get that. Everyone else, just like you said, everyone besides Bianca and Liv, the last two kind of just felt like they were just there. Minus the opening angle with Jade. I didn't know they were going to go like that direction. I was like, damn, she beat the shit out of her. And then they just said, oh, she's eliminated. Because I remember we were watching, you know, Wendy was like, oh, is Jade going to take her place? Like, she's going to take her spot. I was like, nah, it wouldn't make any sense because she would have to take the loss. She's not going to lose. She just came back and, you know, beat the shit out of her. It will make her look weak. It'll kind of be just stupid. It'll make her look even more dumb. So I kind of like the way they did that angle where they just like, Naomi's eliminated because she can't fight. She got her ass whooped. But everything else was fine. You know, the spots, you know, typical chamber spots, you know, somebody jumping off the top, whatever the case may be. I had Bianca winning, and I do feel like she's the right person to win it. as far as the questions that you were saying about like Io and Rhea, I think we're getting Rhea and Bianca. I think that's the matchup you do at WrestleMania. But then also like you saw that crowd reaction when they did that face off, like that was telling within itself. Like Rhea came out and they had to stare down. Then when Io kind of came out, it was kind of like the kind of reaction kind of like dimmed down when it came to that. So I was just like, they should just go with Rhea and Bianca. We kind of been waiting for that for years. I think it's the right time to do it. The right person won for the match.
Professor Kris, what did you think about the women's chamber?
Yeah, I wasn't super invested in this match going in. But it was a fun match. Bianca hitting her with her hair. I don't know if y'all used to play Mortal Kombat 3 back in the day, but they had that character Sindel that used to do that hair whip. It reminded me of that. Triple H, man, he's so garbage when he does these press conferences. Last night, I don't know if you saw it. No one even asked him to volunteer this shit, but he was just over explaining why the women aren't in the main event. Basically gave a I don't see gender speech. Just shut the fuck up. No, none of the press people asked you about that. Don't volunteer information.
I don't see gender.
That was weird. Yeah, that was weird. Yeah, when he said that, and then even indicate I
turned that shit off when Triple H comes on.
Especially the part where he was like indicating like, oh yeah, the women could main event night one. I was like, no, don't even try to put that fake thought. Like, don't do that, because we all know it's cap.
Right, yeah. And it was just the over explanation for no fucking reason, man. To me, it reminds me of the Luka Anthony Davis trade. You don't need to fucking explain this shit. Just to, you trade it because you wanted to get rid of Davis. I get it, fine. But the match itself was a good match. It was fun. It was what it needed to be. I think Bianca and Rhea Ripley is the better match. Just them one-on-one. I think Io is just kind of the third woman. And they did this before where they shoehorn a third woman in the match. Like, I still, until I die, even after I die, it might be on my tombstone. That WrestleMania should have been Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch and not fucking Charlotte Flair. They just injected her into that shit. It made for a worse match. So hopefully they keep it one-on-one. And that's my 2 cents on that.
That's fair. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one. This was a lot of fun. We got Negro Buck in the chat. Says a lot of people want to see a triple threat, but man, I really want Rhea versus Bianca one-on-one. They've been teasing it for 3 years. Yeah, they've been honey dicking us with this fucking Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair. Like, we should have got it at WrestleMania 39 when Rhea won the Royal Rumble, because they didn't get it in the summer of 2022 because Rhea got hurt and she was away for a while. So she was supposed to face Bianca at Money in the Bank in 2022, and that got postponed because she got hurt. And then they could have done it again when she won the Royal Rumble, but she had to do another match with Charlotte Flair, and the match was great. The build wasn't. Like, that's my whole thing. I was like. I didn't need that. I needed Rhea and Bianca because I thought that could have been just as great as Rhea and Charlotte.
And I think as far as Io, I think people are just wanting a triple threat because they think they want Io, they think she deserves better, which I get, but I'm just like, I really don't want a triple threat. Like, and I get it. I think Io is amazing. I think she deserves better, but I was like, this is kind of just not the time to do a triple threat when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'll give WWE credit for this too. they've done a very good job of keeping Rhea and Bianca separate and out of matches with each other to where when they finally do fight, it's going to feel special. I remember they did this same kind of thing with John Cena and Randy Orton, but it was a couple years before they had their first match together. The problem with that is after they had their first match together, they just overdid the fuck out of it.
Shit to the ground.
Yeah, they just way overdid it, but it took them a while to get there. So I do like the fact that we're getting this for the first time, and it's gonna feel like a special match if they stick with the one-on-one situation.
Yeah. We got a couple of super chat donations to get to. We got Call Me Mr. Bonda. Thank you so much for the donation. He says, first black woman to win the chamber twice. Put some respect on Bianca Belair's name, y'all. Like I think it was yesterday when we were going over my top my 10 greatest WWE women's wrestlers of all time list on Sports Illustrated. Someone was like, "Oh yeah, Rhea Ripley. I mean, you have Bianca on there. You should have Rhea Ripley." I was like, "No, Bianca's accomplished more. Bianca's done more. Like she's been the main event of WrestleMania. This is going to be her fourth singles, if it is one-on-one, her fourth singles world title match at WrestleMania. Like that's more than most women have in their entire like decade-long career, and she's only been on the main roster since 2020.
Yeah. They put a lot of
that was me.
Yeah.
I didn't say that you fumbled though. So, like some people said that you fumbled that list.
They have a lot of faith in Bianca Belair. You know, they really do. They put her in there with new women, and they trust her to carry women and make them look good. And you know, that's just her role, and she's over and a main eventer.
Yeah. We also got another super chat donation from Santo. Thank you so much, Santo, for the support. He says, "What's up? Great show, and I'm still speechless." So he really enjoyed last night's Elimination Chamber event. We also got Chuck Berries. Thank you again, Santo. Chuck Berries with another super chat donation. Thanks. Good to see you, Chuck Berries. He says, "Damn. The lady should try to ban Bianca's hair braid like the NFL is trying to ban the tush push. LOL. And Liv got fucked up for real. She took it, though. I'll give her that. Liv's been on a roll. I would say Liv over the past month has been 10 times better than the 8 months she was world champion.
Right. I will say this, and I feel what you're saying, Chuck. WWE, they should stay away from making any kind of critique on a black woman's hair. Just leave that fucking shit alone. Just leave it alone. Just don't do it.
Yeah, but then also, Bianca, she doesn't use the hair thing a lot.
Right.
She doesn't do it a lot.
So
the tush push.
She has her own psychology with the hair braid. If you try to use her hair braid against her too much, that's when she uses the hair braid on you.
Yeah, and then also, I mean, when it comes to the tush push, I mean, Jalen Hurts does that every fucking game. So it's like, in comparison, I mean, I get the analogy because it is funny, but it's like they definitely need to ban the tush push. That's what I agree with.
We also got here Jamie Williams, who says, "Is Naomi behind the attack on Jade? I'm not sure. I think that there is something to read into the reactions that we've gotten from Naomi and Bianca since they saw the video that had Liv and Raquel in it to their reactions last night. I would think that if Bianca wasn't involved, her reaction would have not been so dramatic and like she was frantically getting out. It would be more of like confusion. So right. I'm thinking that yes, Bianca is involved in the attack in some way.
Yeah, but then also, I mean, I don't know if it was done purposely, but her acting was it was really bad.
Jamie, I think that whatever they do, it's gonna be a little overthought. For some reason, Triple H loves these like heel turns where he's just always where you think they're gonna go one direction and they just take you left, like they did it with the New Day, and it ends up being the New Day. Both of them are turning into dickheads, and they did it with DIY. And I think that's just kind of he likes doing these kind of red herring turns. So I do think that was done purposely to kind of take you off the trail. Not saying that Naomi's not going to turn heel, but it might be Naomi and Bianca or Naomi and a culprit, something fucking over-explainy like that.
I can see that. We got Chuck Berry's with another super chat donation asking us, do you guys think that Bianca could be revealed as a co-conspirator in Jade's attack? And if so, how would you book it? I would book it in a way that you basically, I think that the Rhea versus Bianca matchup will feel a lot more kind of story invested if it is a babyface versus a heel matchup. If it's babyface versus babyface, I have no faith in Triple H to book that. I'm sorry to say that. I have no faith in Triple H to book a compelling babyface versus babyface matchup and build for Bianca in Rhea. I think that the best place that they can go with this is if Rhea is the next one who's attacked, and then we can reveal that it's been Bianca and Naomi working together the whole time, and they want to get rid of Jade because they felt like Jade was taking too much of the spotlight away from them, something like that. I said from the beginning that it didn't make too much sense for Bianca to be a part of it because she basically cost herself a title match because she was in the tournament for the United States Championship when she basically went backstage to check on Jade. So maybe that Naomi was the original attacker, but Bianca knew about it. I think that's how I would book it.
Yeah. Chuck, thank you for the super chat. I just probably wouldn't book it. So I mean that's my short answer. I mean, I think now I
already kind of agree.
I'm with SP3, I guess, but I just haven't given this a lot of thought. So sorry about that, but I didn't want to just leave your super chat by without at least speaking on it. But yeah, I haven't given it a lot of fucking thought.
We also got here Chilling with Chase. Thank you so much, Chilling with Chase. It says, I see we just needed one more chat for the goal, so why not? Thank you so much, Chilling with Chase. Always looking out for the crew. But then we also got Kid Cuddy with 2 super chat donations. He says, first, thank you so much, Kid Cuddy, for the support as well. He says, gotta head back to work, but great show and ending. And he also adds, heard some blasphemy before I go. Bianca acting was A1. So he thought Bianca's acting was A1.
I mean, hey, he probably got low standards of like acting. He probably watches a lot of movies on Tubi or something because that shit was awful. I'm just saying.
These are WWE wrestlers. They're not classically trained actors.
No, they're not. I mean, they're not, right, to their credit. I mean, they're not to their credit, but it doesn't mean that it's not awful. Like,
I didn't think it was awful. I just thought that Alexa Bliss was better.
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree with you.
Alexa was great. She was great. It's just
I thought Alexa's sell of it was a lot more contained and it felt right for the moment. You could see I can understand the argument that you think that Bianca was over the top with it. I don't think she was awful. I don't think that. We got Chuck Berry says that's fair, and he also said Trevor Finisher said he watched Red 1.
Oh shit. Damn.
Yeah, dude, you're the one person that watched that. I actually watched it too. I didn't like it at all, but you know.
I did not even try. At this point, we did get Canadian rapper Nav in the chat in the crowd, shown on camera for some reason. I don't know who you are. For at least the third time on the night, McAfee brought up the American anthem being booed, and even said that Canada better stop doing that or else.
Yeah,
What, nigga?
McAfee. I hate these fucking bro podcasters. Pat McAfee, Theo Vaughn, Joe Rogan. All of them could suck a dick, man. This is fucking stupid. Like saying that shit on a WWE show is stupid. WWE tries their best to stay separate from the UFC fuckery. They don't really let me scratch it. They don't try their best, but they do. Once they see how people are reacting to things, they get the hint really fast. Pat McAfee on commentary didn't get the hint. I understand they like having Pat McAfee around because he is a top podcaster. His podcast gets a lot of views and a lot of watches, but that should not be a reason why you let him go on commentary and say this kind of dumb shit.
There you go. There you go. Next up, we had Trish Stratus celebrating her 25-year anniversary of her debut, teaming up with WWE Women's Champion Tiffany Stratton to versus Nia Jax and Candice LeRae. Cole mentioned that Stratus's kids were watching her wrestle live for the first time. Stratus and Stratton wore matching white and blue gear for the Blue Jays and the Maple Leaf. On the way out, Stratton seemed to get a bigger reaction than Tiffany got a bigger reaction than Trish. That was weird to me. Yeah. Trish hit Jax with some weak-looking strikes and a better-looking DDT for a 2 count. Jax blocked a bulldog attempt and hit a back suplex. They then isolated Trish for a bit here before she made the hot tag to Tiffany. Tiffany came in. She hits an Alabama slam on Candice, a spine buster on Nia. Stratton then hits a big drop kick on LeRae for a 2 count. Stratton then tried for the prettiest moonsault ever, but LeRae tripped her off the top rope. She fell pretty hard too. And then Nia came in with a big leg drop that followed up. Stratton gave Jax a back suplex and then tagged in Trish. Trish started running wild. She hits a big bulldog off the top rope on Nia. LeRae tried to break up the cover with a springboard moonsault, but hit Nia instead when Trish moved out the way. Trish got rid of Candice outside and then tagged in Tiffany. Tiffany got rid of Candice again over the top rope. She kicked Trish off of the apron at least twice. That was funny. And then Tiffany then followed up. She hits prettiest moonsault ever on Nia and finally gets a 1-2-3 victory outside of a Money in the Bank cash-in on Nia here, getting the pinfall victory to end their rivalry. Tiffy and Trishy time pick up the win here. This wasn't much of a matchup at all, and I think this was probably the low point of the night for me personally. The crowd didn't seem as invested in this matchup as I thought they would with Trish making her return, so I just gave the match 2.25 stars. What did you think, Kris?
Yeah, I give it about the same, and exactly what you said. It seemed like they kind of just put Trish in this match just so they could get some kind of pop or whatever. And I think the crowd probably knew that, so they didn't give WWE what they wanted, you know. I will say this about Trish. Trish, she's found the fountain of youth, man. That woman is fine. She looks good. That yoga she's doing works for her. I gotta big up her. She's like, look, man, I know you young heads out here, but you know, I still got it all going on. I'm almost 50 and I can still hang, and I ain't mad at her. So I want to say that about Trish.
There's a lot of milk there. Josh, what do you think about Tiffy and Trishy's win over Nia and Candice?
I mean, the match was okay. I just really didn't need the match.
Yeah, it's kind of there. One match was going to be the low point of the night, and this was it. Davion with a good question. He says, "Is it just me, or does something seem off about Tiffany's booking since she won the title? It really feels like they didn't intend on Tiffany being a full babyface after she cashed in. even though it felt like that was what they were building to. But it felt like they also didn't want to commit to her being a full-on babyface, and they haven't figured out how to book her as a babyface. When the bell rings, she has a very exciting athletic style that plays to be a babyface, but her booking when the bell rings the second time has not been good.
Davion, there was something about her booking that was off before she won the title, in my opinion. So, I mean, I think it could be traced back well before she won it. And that's my opinion.
Yeah, and then the cash in too. I think the cash in probably happened sooner than they probably wanted. Because it happened on that first 3-hour SmackDown. That could play a factor. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But it probably seemed like they put the title on her maybe sooner than they wanted to. But something does. I mean, he's not too far off. Something does seem kind of off, per se. And I think it's more of they're trying to figure out what they want to do with her, period. Because it's like you have something there, she's over, she's popular. So it's like just make her a baby face. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Obviously she's a better heel, but I don't know. I mean, I think there's numbers or factors of that.
And a good point, Chase says the match was just there for Trish to get a pop SMH, and she didn't get the pop.
Mm-hmm.
It was there for Trish to pop, and she didn't
got more to pop.
Yeah. That was the funny thing about it. And it was so obviously there for Trish to get the pop. Trish probably got paid 6 figures for just showing up and getting the pop, and she didn't get the pop, but her check is still cashing. So
she worked for it at least. She worked.
She did. She did what she needed to do. So.
But also, I think what it was too was that there was a lot of people who were kind of on the same boat as me, where I was like, I didn't need the match. I didn't hate the fact that it was on the card. I just thought, I'm like, if you have this shit, you easily could have put in EO versus Rhea.
And to piggyback off of that, Josh, this goes to like Triple H over explaining the women. It's like when you put women in this uncompelling shit, of course they're not going to get the reactions that you want them to get, because the shit you're giving them is not compelling. So don't say go out there and impress. Shut the fuck up, you dumbass.
It's just a whole bunch of PR propaganda from Triple H whenever he talks at these press conferences. That's why I turn the shit off whenever he shows up. When he shows up, I'm out. I still have to go back and watch The Rock's press conference, even though he's a bunch of PR and propaganda and shit. But at least he's funny. At least it's funny with him. Like Triple H literally says stuff. Let me finish. Triple H literally said stuff that offends people. Like he doesn't even intend to do it. Like that's the issue with Triple H in comparison to The Rock. The Rock doing PR propaganda bullshit is hilarious because he turns into Dwayne talking about The Rock.
Right. Like I think what Triple H does is like what a boyfriend or a guy that's trying to get a girl where he's got a fault that's kind of obvious, but if you're the woman, you won't pay attention to it. But then the guy just starts over explaining this negative thing about himself, where that wasn't even asked. The one thing I'll give The Rock, because he's not the greatest either, but I did notice at that press conference last night, he sounded like a human being. He sounded like a real person that talks. And that's all I ask for out of these motherfuckers. And Triple H sounds like a corporate shill and a robot. There's nothing affable about him. He doesn't belong on camera at these conferences.
He has no PR training. He has none.
Put Shawn Michaels on these things. If he or put The Rock on there, put someone that knows how to do that shit. But Triple H does not belong at this shit.
Yeah. The only thing I was gonna add was that The Rock's, I guess when he does like the press conference and the last two he's done, the only problem I have with The Rock is when he does it is like he constantly brings up like his family, and it's just like, bro, like we know who your grandfather is. You don't have to tell us 6 or 7 times. Yesterday he did that like maybe like 3 times, and I'm just like, we fucking know who your grandfather is. Like we know who that is, bro. And then also the bad habit. He was last question. Let's take one more question. He did it like 5 times.
6 of them, yeah.
He did like 6 times. Last question.
But a lot of them do that. Cena did that. Cena did that during the Money in the Bank post press.
And then
as someone who
goes comment.
As someone who goes to these press conferences as a part of the, I don't go to them anymore, but I've been to like 1 or 2 of them. As a journalist, I do appreciate that, because you are waiting there for fucking ever, and to just not get your question is a little disheartening. So The Rock giving those people their question, that one fucking journalist that was asking about something about food or it was a stupid question.
It was Muscle Man Malcolm. He always does that. He always asks about the Waffle House order.
Yeah, he's the Waffle House. That's what it was. Yeah,
I mean, Malcolm, don't get me wrong. He's like positive. Mostly.
I love Malcolm, but I didn't know that was him that asked that question.
That was him. It was him. I was just like, bro, like, come on. Like, that's.
I mean, we only get so many of these questions we could ask these people. So I mean, just like, come on.
You got a chance to talk to The Rock, and that was like. That was like the question you asked The Rock. Like,
I love Malcolm. I don't have any issue. I don't have any issue with it. If that's what he wants to use his time for, that's him. That's him.
No, it's him. But it's just one of those things where it's just like, bro, you got a chance to talk to The Rock, like The Rock, and that's what you waste your question on.
Yeah.
The fuck.
We do see Travis Scott is in the back. Then we see Andrew Funk, as well as Robbie Amell and Itali Ricci. I think she's Christina Ricci's sister.
Like, you see what I mean?
In the crowd, they're all Netflix people. We get a video package.
You see what I mean? Like,
we get a video package telling us how rich The Rock is and how famous in all his movies have done. Then we are told that the live attendance is 38,493. And then we get the good stuff. The video package for Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, because up next is our unsanctioned matchup. Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens back in Toronto. I love the referee's look. The referee wore all black, no referee shirt. He just had on a black shirt. Alicia Taylor announced that he was only there to count falls and accept submissions. He already had gloves on as well, just in case of blood, even though we would not get that. Both wrestlers also wore all black, with Kevin Owens sporting a red elbow pad. They also dimmed the stadium lights to kind of give this kind of more gritty feel. It did feel like, I know some people did not like the lighting or not. I liked it because it did give it kind of the feel of a Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa takeover New Orleans kind of vibe to it. Cole actually mentioned their past grudge matches as El Generico and Kevin Steen, which popped the hell out of me. As soon as the bell rings, they start going at it. They're throwing fists on each other. We get Owens dropped Zayn gut first over the top rope and then hit a big senton. Zayn drove Owens into a metal ring post. No like video ring post like they usually have. Some fans chanted for tables, but Zayn grabbed a chair instead. Owens used the chair on Zayn, but Zayn ducked a shot. The chair bounced off the ropes and Owens hit himself in the face. We get Owens. They get all black hockey sticks brought out by Sami Zayn. Zayn grabs a table from under the ring, but Owens posted him. Owens then used the stick to crossface Zayn, simultaneously biting his forehead at the same time. KO then grabbed a new table and stacked it on top of the other one that Sami set up. As soon as he did that, I was like, why do I feel like Kevin Owens is going through these tables? Because anytime there's stacked tables, I think I've seen KO go through them every single time. They fought into the crowd where Zayn hit Owens with a trash can, and that's when Pat McAfee said the worst line of the night. Oh, he just hit him with Dominic Mysterio. I was like, thanks for getting me out of the vibe of the matchup, Pat. Zayn then gave Owens a Blue Thunder Bomb variation through a table. He then grabbed him and then once again gives him another one through a second table that had a bunch of drinks and cups and popcorn on it. Zayn then chased Owens down toward the ringside area with a trash can lid, but KO hit him with a ring bell. Owens then used a lid and a monitor as a weapon. They battled on the top rope when Owens slipped underneath Zayn and shoved him out of the ring through the 2 stacked tables outside the ring. That was an absolutely bonkers bump for Sami, and that got a big reaction from the fans. Owens then gave Zayn a fisherman buster on top of an open steel chair, but only got a 2 count. I love Sami Zayn. The way he kicked out of a lot of these moves was basically like a reaction. Like he had a twitch, like he was like, ugh. It was great. Sami then slipped out of a pop-up powerbomb attempt. He hit some crazy consecutive half and half suplexes. The second one, he just lands KO right on top of the open chair and destroys the chair. We get the chair buckling, and that looked absolutely brutal. Sami went for an Aluva kick, but Owens was able to move out the way, and Sami hit the referee instead by mistake. Owens then followed up with a stunner, and a new referee ran down, but Zayn was able to kick out. That pissed off Owens enough that he clotheslines referee Charles Robinson, and he's out of it. A third referee ran down to check on both refs. Owens went to the top rope, but Zayn was able to chuck him down with a chair at his face. Zayn then went up top, but Owens nailed a avalanche fisherman buster through a table, but Sami was somehow able to roll his shoulder off the mat again. A few officials ran down to try to talk to them into stopping. Owens got in Sami's face and screamed, "This is all your fault," which led to Sami hitting a big Aluva kick in the corner when Owens went to the other corner. Zayn then grabbed a steel chair wrapped in barbed wire as the crowd gasped. We were getting a lot of fan reactions throughout this when the fans reacting big as soon as he grabbed the steel chair. And I love KO's reaction when he saw the barbed wire steel chair. Sami hesitated a bit before hitting Owens twice with the chair to the back. Owens fought back anyway, but Zayn grabbed him and hold him right into the barbed wire steel chair. Owens sold this like he was blind, like the barbed wire went right into his eye. It was a great sell. Sami then stacked the barbed wire chair on top of 2 other chairs and hits a brutal-looking Blue Thunder Bomb on top of the barbed wire chair for a close near fall. At that point, the crowd were on their feet, fully invested in this matchup. Big "This is awesome" chants. Sami then went for a final Aluva kick, but Owens countered into a brutal-looking pop-up powerbomb with Sami bouncing off the mat, selling his neck, and rolling to the floor. Owens wrapped a chair around Sami's neck and head and drove him into the ring post repeatedly, twice. Cole screamed that this wasn't worth it. Owens then delivers a pop-up powerbomb onto the apron on the edge of the ring, and Cole screams out, "You sick bastard!" More officials ran down to plead with Kevin to stop. Owens looked like he was going to botch the second pop-up powerbomb on the apron, but I love Sami improvising and just fighting back like a last little fury of energy. So Owens is able to put him into the powerbomb position. He delivers the powerbomb onto the apron. Owens then rolls Sami into the ring. He gets the 1-2-3 to mercifully end this brutal war. This is probably one of the more violent matches we've seen on the main roster. I think the only thing that was missing was blood from this one. If it had blood, this is like a 5-star matchup to me. I gave it 4 3/4 stars for what they delivered because it got the right amount of violence, and the right selling and the storytelling throughout was absolutely superb, especially Sami selling the kind of the unhinged cruelty that is Kevin Owens wanting to put his best friend in a wheelchair. That really sold me into the story of the matchup. Security followed up Owens up the ramp as officials and doctors were checking on Sami in the ring, but KO wouldn't have that. He attacks the guards. He then went back to ringside. He starts pulling the black mats up from the mat, and he starts exposing them. and it looks like he's about to do a package power driver onto the concrete floor. But as soon as he's about to lift up Sami, I hear voices in my head. They talk to me. They understand. Or Randy Orton in his ring gear comes out, making his return for the first time since November. Kevin Owens has tears in his eyes as he's ready for him in the ring, telling him to get in the ring. They brawl for a bit, but KO gets an RKO from Orton. Orton then grabs a steel chair, looking to get some redemption for his neck, and it looks like he's about to wrap it around KO's neck, but then he tosses it aside. He sets up for the brutal punt kick, but when he went for it, the officials ran in and stopped him. KO was able to escape. He gets helped to the back by officials. Orton then starts rallying off RKOs to the 4 security guards. Instead, he had to hit 2 on 2 Black brothers. Way to go. One day after Black History.
I know, right?
There was a funny bit where he offered the last one a handshake to the last guard who was dumb enough to fall for it, and he just hits the RKO on him as well. Orton posed for the fans, and we see that Orton is looking over at the WrestleMania sign, indicating that might be the setting for his final showdown with Kevin Owens. But a big return to cap things off here. Like I said, I love the unsanctioned matchup. I thought they sold it very well. The aesthetics of it all, the commentary outside of Pat McAfee did very well, especially Wade Barrett in selling the brutality and the fact that these men have been friends for so long. And Michael Cole was exceptional on commentary in this one. I didn't think that it ever escalated to the level of violence that I think that was like above what the company would give, but this is as violent as a WWE unsanctioned match is going to be, so I very much enjoyed it. I'm in like 4 3/4, 4.5 stars type of range, but I'm gonna go 4 3/4 for now. Chris, what did you think about the unsanctioned match?
I liked it a lot. I give it 4 stars. My nitpicks are they it might not seem like a big deal, but it is a big deal to me. The theme music in WWE is very unremarkable. Not just WWE, AEW as well. I'm not a big fan of Kevin Owens's WWE theme, only because I don't know when he's coming out sometimes and when they play it. It's just so unremarkable. Maybe you know the answer to this, Sid, I don't know. But that Unsettling Differences song that he used to come out to, does AEW own that song, or does the Blue Smoke Nancy group?
The group owns the rights.
Yeah, so I think that he should at least something else, man. I just don't like that theme. That's just my own personal grievance with that. I thought I liked the audience reaction to the punt kick, because when he threw down that chair, it was like the audience knew he was gonna go for that kick instead. And then he didn't get it off. So I thought that was great. It was standard WWE fare post match. But it was fine for what it was, and the match was great. Yeah, I mean, it's not too much I can ask for.
Josh, what about you?
Match was great. It was my match of the night, easily. They basically did everything that I kind of expected them to do, especially if you're advertising it as unsanctioned. The lighting itself was a little weird to me. I didn't hate it, but it was a little weird at first, because I was just like, all right, is this like a theater kind of thing that's going on right now, or what? That's how I kind of looked more like. It kind of more looked like they were like at some kind of like Broadway show or something. But then it started picking up once they got into the crowd and started doing like crazy shit. That's when the match really picked up. And also, I think they got the necessary time that the match needed, to beat the shit out of each other. But, as far as like not using blood and all that stuff. Oh.
Got interrupted. You muted yourself. We got Davion, who says this match definitely could have used some color. Yeah, I agree. If it had blood, it would have took it over the top. And I understand that WWE was probably like, oh, we want to save the blood for the Cody angle and stuff like that. So
yeah, that's what I was gonna say, Davion. I think they were saving the blood for the end of the show. And I'm not even talking. The main event of that show wasn't the Elimination Chamber. It was the shit that happened after it. But we'll talk about that. But yeah, I think they wanted to save the blood for that.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, I got interrupted like randomly. As far as like the not using the blood, I mean, to me, I've always had this issue with WWE when they do these kind of matches where it's supposed to be violent and you're using weapons like this. When you don't use blood, it kind of takes it away from me for it to be like, hey, like, you know, when you say like 5 stars or be, you know, close to that, just because, you know, if you're using barbed wire, right, the whole aspect is like you're getting cut, right? You're getting cut with the barbed wire. So there should be some kind of form of blood. So when they don't.
I do want to say this too. So I think another reason why they didn't use the blood, because I think the show is rated TV PG. And with that rating, if they did too much blood, and they also had Cody say the F word at the end of the show, and I think they didn't.
I think it was more so that.
Yeah,
I think it was more so the Cody stuff.
Yeah, I don't think they wanted to sacrifice getting a TV MA rating.
No, it's nothing to do with that. It's just Cody bleeding. Cody bleeding is the reason why you couldn't have blood in this one. Right. That's what it really comes.
Yeah.
They think that if you have it more than once, it lessens
I think that's what, I think it was more so. I think
there is a well, this is pay-per-view, so this is pay-per-view, but I do know that those rules exist for
it doesn't exist for the PLEs though.
Yeah,
but then also I think once you have a man scream the word fuck, I mean that kind of goes out the window.
Right.
That too. Ain't no balancing act after that really. Right. But we do get the it looks like that's gonna be the story for WrestleMania is Orton trying to get the punt kick on KO. So do y'all think that Sami gets his match at WrestleMania, and who would it be against if you had to call, Kris?
I do think he's gonna get the match at WrestleMania. I'm not sure. Because I could even see them not giving him a match and just putting him as a referee or enforcer or something stupid like that. I hope they don't do that. But I mean, I don't really know what match they put him in.
I think it's Karrion Kross. I think it's Karrion. They've kind of been teasing that for months. Like 2-3 months ago, I was like, there could have been a good chance that it could have been Seth Rollins, but Seth Rollins is so knee deep in the Punk stuff and Roman stuff that he needs to be involved with them at WrestleMania. So Sami will probably have to go with Karrion Kross.
Yeah, and he dug himself deeper into that shit last night too. So.
Yeah.
Yuck. Karrion Kross and
and that's weird too. Seeing Karrion Kross in a singles match at WrestleMania, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But maybe they can make it make sense.
It seems like I don't know. It seems wrong.
Yeah, it seems off. It seems like something's off center with the universe if that happens.
Yeah. The announcers plugged the Stephanie's new show, Stephanie's Place, which is the first episode is going to be at Pat McAfee's studio. Dion Dawkins of the Buffalo Bills was in the crowd. Cole mentioned that Chris Jericho held the record for most eliminations in the Elimination Chamber. Then he mistakenly said that Chris Jericho invented the match. He's thinking Eric Bischoff, and he's thinking that Chris Jericho invented Money in the Bank. So sorry, I had to correct you, Michael Cole. And then that leads to our men's Elimination Chamber matchup. Logan Paul comes out first to get cheap cheap country heat. He comes out with the American flag. About 11 minutes elapsed between the first entrance to the last entrance. That's a lot of time for entrances. It took like 15 plus minutes for all the entrants, but it's Logan Paul, Damian Priest, Seth freaking Rollins, Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, and John Cena. The first two to start off the matchup are Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins. They immediately tried their finishers but missed. McIntyre tossed Rollins into the hard surface and into the chains. We get Rollins fought back and repeatedly drove McIntyre into CM Punk's pod, who cheered him on and said, "Harder, harder, harder." McIntyre removed a turnbuckle pad and gave Rollins a slingshot into the metal piece. Punk cheered this on too. Unlike the women's match, they did get the full 5-minute intervals. Damian Priest then came out third to absolutely no pop at all. I felt bad for him. I was like, God damn, no one gives a shit about you. God damn. They gave Priest a chance to shine, though. He gave Rollins a razor's edge over the top rope onto Drew McIntyre. Rollins then super kicked McIntyre and Priest. McIntyre gave Rollins a spine buster and powerbombed him onto Priest's back. The crowd yelled obscenities at Logan Paul, who was in his pod drawing OVO on one side of the pod for Drake, who was on that side behind the commentary desk. He then drew humble on another side. He's not going to get that over. I love how much he's trying, but he's not going to get it over. McIntyre brought down both Rollins and Priest with a German suplex out of the corner as Rollins gave a superplex to Priest. Less than 4 minutes passed before Logan Paul was next in. He hit something on each man and only got a 2 count. He posed and then Damian Priest hit him with the bell clap. The crowd cheered as Paul's face was driven into the cage. The crowd chanted, "Fuck you, Logan," and Netflix tried to censor it but missed it every single time. John Cena entered 5th in the matchup after another short interval. The crowd went nuts for Cena, who delivered his usual offense. He planted Logan Paul with an AA, but then McIntyre flew in with a Claymore, but McIntyre didn't go for the cover. He was talking trash to Cena, so Damian Priest took advantage, caught him with a crucifix pin. 1, 2, 3. 13 minutes into the matchup, and Drew McIntyre is eliminated. This comes off the heels of Dr. Chris Featherstone reporting on Sportskeeda's Backstage Pass that Drew McIntyre was going to win this match, and that led to Drew McIntyre becoming the betting favorite for the matchup just before the show started. So good luck on all those people who put in bets for Drew McIntyre. McIntyre, though, he got so pissed off, he delivered a Claymore to Damian Priest, which led to Logan Paul going to the top of a pod and hitting a big frog splash to eliminate Priest as well. CM Punk entered last. The crowd chanted for Punk. He went right after Logan. He repeatedly slammed Logan's head right into the plexiglass. Punk turned around and saw John Cena standing tall in the ring. Cena couldn't help but smile. He yelled to Punk, "I missed you." And Punk yelled back, "I missed you too." We get holy shit chants from the crowd. Before they could go at it with one another, though, we get Seth Rollins comes in and basically breaks this shit up. He says, "Enough of this bullshit." He flew in and booted Punk. Rollins told Cena that Punk is his. As Cena and Rollins started trading right hands, Logan Paul came in with a double buckshot lariat on both men. He tried for one on Punk, but Punk countered. He slapped Logan Paul across the face, and then he gives him a go to sleep. 1, 2, 3. Logan Paul is out, and we are down to 3. It is John Cena, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins, and this is when the match actually got good. Yeah. Punk and Cena decide to go to team up with each other against Seth Rollins. They start battering him back and forth. They deliver a heart attack on him. Then we get the final face-off of Cena and Punk. I love the moment where Cena offers him a handshake, and Punk, this fucking chain trying to be a changed man, hugs him in the middle of a fucking elimination chamber. Are you fucking kidding me? It was sincere, but I hated it. They backed off and then started trading strikes. Cena got the better of it, and then Cena hit his shoulder blocks, but Punk hits a corner knee, but Cena slams him down. He tries to go for the go to sleep, but then Punk tries to kick him in the head, but Cena reverses that into an STF. Love Punk's sell of it, where he's selling it like he's going crazy. Punk reversed that into an Anaconda Vice, but Cena reversed that into a Cradle. Punk hits a neck breaker, and then the crowd applaud both men. Punk went to the top rope, but he saw Seth Rollins getting up. He takes him out. Then he goes to the top rope and tries to get Cena with a crossbody, but Cena reverses that into an AA for a close near fall. Cena went to the top rope, but Rollins power bombs him into the chains and then drives him into the plexiglass, breaking the pod. Rollins then gave Punk a pedigree for a 2 count. Punk then blocked Rollins' superplex and hits a big flying elbow drop. He tries to go for the GTS, but Rollins responds with a buckle bomb and then the curb stomp. But Punk kicked out. Punk kicked out of an AA, a pedigree, and a curb stomp. I was like, they're going ham with trying to make CM Punk look like a world beater. And then we just got a lot of finisher spam at the end of this matchup. Right. Rollins slips out of an AA. Punk gives him a GTS though, and then Cena follows up with the AA, and then Punk pins Rollins, and Rollins is eliminated. So we are down to the 2 men that Toronto was into the most, CM Punk and John Cena. They faced off again, and the sound of the dueling chants were echoing across the arena. Cena was no longer smiling, though. He offered a handshake, but Punk shook his hand and gives him the go to sleep. He gets a near fall as Cena kicks out at 2. Cena responds with an AA, but he only gets a 2. So Punk's kick out at 2 AAs, a curb stomp, and a pedigree. Rollins, who had yet to leave, he was standing in the corner. Rollins, as soon as Punk kicks out of the AA, he slips through the second and the last rope, and Rollins responds by curb stomping his head into the hard surface. Cena did not hesitate, though. He pulls Punk back inside the ring. He tells him, "I'm sorry," as he locks on probably the best version of the STF that he's ever delivered. Ever. Punk sold this like death. He passes out. I love Seth Rollins' sell of this as he's yelling at Punk, "Die, die, die," from outside of the cage as John Cena wins by referee stoppage. John Cena is going to WrestleMania. This match picked up a lot. Cena versus Punk were the highlight of this matchup. Seth Rollins was really the glue of this matchup. You could have give or taken the first half of this matchup, but the second half was really strong enough that it pushes this matchup to 4 stars for me. I really enjoyed the Punk, Cena, and Seth portion of this Elimination Chamber, and that's where the storytelling really picked up as well. John Cena picks up the win, and they seamlessly go from John Cena celebrating, going to WrestleMania. He will face Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Championship. And that brought out Cody. Cody comes out to Cena. Cena holds the ropes for him. Cena told Rhodes that he was coming for his belt at WrestleMania. He says it doesn't get any bigger than this. And then we hear the music of "If You Smell," boom, 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 with The Rock, boom, 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 is cooking. And then it transitioned into Travis Scott Fiend played, and he enters. The music cut back to Rock's theme, and Rock comes out, and with Travis Scott, they walk down to the ring. Rock and Rhodes came face to face as Cena stood by to watch with Travis Scott in the corner, who was lighting up Sage. Rock told Cody that he would embrace him, and he would embrace Rhodes as his champion. Rock wanted it all. He wanted Rhodes' mind and soul. God have mercy. Rock needed his soul. If the answer was yes, the American Nightmare would live forever. If Rhodes' answer was no, then tonight, the dream died again. I was like, the crowd didn't even react to that line. I knew what he meant, but I was like, God damn it.
Yeah.
Rock then held his arms out for a hug, but Cody responds and says, "I want it all, Rock. My soul no longer belongs to me. And you know why? Because I gave my soul to this ring and these people a long time ago." The fans in Cena cheered that. Then Rhodes says, "Hey, Rock, go fuck yourself." Big, huge reaction. The crowd went nuts for that line. Cena was quite amused by it. Rock was not, but it was all a swerve. Cena and Rhodes, they embrace one another, but as Cena hugs Cody, he looks towards The Rock. The Rock gives him the signal. slashing his throat with 2 fingers and putting the 2 fingers up before telling Cena to go ahead. Cena breaks the hug, looks at Cody, and low blows him. The crowd gasps. The crowd pops huge. It's happening. Cena grabs Cody Rhodes' gold Rolex. He uses it as brass knuckles and punches him in the face. He hammers away at Rhodes, hits him with the microphone upside the head. He then hits him with the undisputed WWE Championship. A mean-looking Cena poses with the WWE Championship. At this point, Cody is busted open across his eye. He then rips Cody's clothes off and wraps the tie around his neck and starts choking him. Cena and Scott held down Rhodes. Scott tries to freaking grab Rhodes and do some shit, so Cena has to push him down. As The Rock uses the weight belt that says Cody's soul and whips Cody with it. Travis Scott punches Cody in the face, shoot style. Cena puts his foot on Rhodes' head as he poses with The Rock, the 2-man Hollywood power trip. I called it. Yes. Oh, I was freaking popping so crazy. I was going wild. Rock wipes Cody's blood onto the weight belt and hits him with it one last time. Cena leaves to a mixed reaction. The crowd popped huge for the heel turn, but we got you sold out chants as well. Cena, Rock, and Travis Scott, they leave the ring. He drops the WWE Championship on him before leaving. And then we get the final scene to close the show. We see the 3 men of the new NWO, the new world order. Hollywood, John Cena, the final boss, The Rock, and this generation's Dennis Rodman, Travis Scott, closing the show as a bloody Cody has no idea what the hell just happened. This was an all-time angle. I agree with what Kris said earlier. The greatest heel turn of all time is still Hulk Hogan joining the NWO because no one saw it coming, and because of what it resulted in. It resulted in a boom period, the biggest boom period in WCW history. It started WCW whooping WWE's ass for 83 weeks. Like, that type of impact is unreal. But as far as like headline and attention grabbing and just influence and how much time John Cena has been a babyface, and the fact that this was a one time for 15 years pretty much they had wanted John Cena to be this overwhelming loved babyface, and he never was. And then they finally had it at a point where the crowd wanted to cheer Cena for this retirement tour, and then they turned him now, which makes this even sweeter. This is an all-time outstanding angle. Like I said, the Elimination Chamber itself, I gave it 4 stars, but this is a 5-star heel turn and a 5-star angle that gives you a hot program heading into WrestleMania. And WrestleMania season is finally here, thanks to the final boss, thanks to John Cena, the 2-man Hollywood power trip. Kris, what did you think about the Men's Chamber? And what did you think overall thoughts on John Cena turning heel?
The Men's Chamber I thought was really good. I give it a 4-star. I thought there were certain, I love the breadcrumbs that Cena dropped in that match, like even pulling Punk back and apologizing.
The desperation. He's desperate. Yeah. He's desperate right now.
Right. Yeah. They told a good story because like I said, Cena being back ever since 2018 when he had that goofy ass match with The Undertaker, I was getting the impression back then, like, this guy much rather be in Hollywood than here. Coming back to lose to Austin Theory, all that shit was booty. It wasn't good stuff, but you can tell a story with this. Now, there's already some online debate as to if this was the plan all along or if they derailed or they just moved because of The Rock's shitty when he originally asked for Cena's soul on SmackDown. I'm I understand both schools of thought. I'm going to go ahead and say this was probably in the making for a little while. But I don't think this what they did last night, I don't think it redeems that horrible episode of SmackDown. That was 3 hours of my life. I will never get fucking back. It was garbage. But at least you can, from that garbage, you can build this thing. I loved Cena here. Just the stories, the language that he spoke with his face. I like The Rock doing the throat slash. It was a kind of a callback to when the Nation turned on Farouk, because when the Nation turned on Farouk, The Rock gave the eyebrow raise, and that was the
and it is the same thing when he turned heel at Survivor Series 1998. It's Vince and him give the eyebrow to one another. They do that, and that's when The Rock puts on the sharpshooter, which is probably in my top 5 heel turns, but I won't give too many of my heel turns. You might see that as an article.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that, by the way. But yeah, and then just like I said, the breadcrumbs I thought were great. I love the fact that after Cody told The Rock to go fuck himself, The Rock just stood there for like a minute or two. He let us take it in. He let us take it in and soak it up. And that was very, very important, so we could feel that moment. What I loved about Cody saying "go fuck yourself" is it gave him some much needed edge that he really didn't have, and that gives him some edge. And I think the problem with baby faces and heels a lot in wrestling is not that the fans just automatically want to cheer the heels. They just don't have a reason to cheer the baby faces, right? Because they book the baby faces in such a corny way sometimes, to where it's like, this guy is so dopey and goofy. And then when you see someone like a Bobby Lashley come out there and he says he's going to kick your ass, and then he does kick your ass, why wouldn't you cheer that? You know? So I think Cody, with having that edge, is going to put him in a good position to not have everybody turn on him. You know, I think Cody's going to maintain his fan base if WWE books this right. But yeah, the end of this match, the post match, the second greatest heel turn of all time, in my opinion. I had time to sit on it. I always ask myself right after I experienced such an epic moment, this was a milestone, right? This moment kind of set a new modern day precedent. I always give myself time to see if it's recency bias or not, but I don't think it was. I think that this is the second greatest heel turn of all time. Cena, I do maintain that in 2011, I would have liked him to turn heel back. I understand why they didn't turn him heel back in 2006 and 2007, because they really didn't have a replacement for him. I think by the time 2011 came around, Punk was hot enough to where you could have turned him into the top face, but Vince McMahon didn't want to take that risk, and Cena didn't turn heel. But better late than never, you know? So, I mean, I'm on board with this. Unlike Josh, I love the Travis Scott involvement. I actually think it makes the heel turn better, but that's just me. But yeah, man, this is a 5-star heel turn. I can't give it anything less than that.
Josh, what did you think about the Chamber and the John Cena heel turn?
I mean, I still stand by what I said about Travis Scott. Didn't need him there. But then also, Jaquan had me dying yesterday because even when he saw him, he's like, "What the fuck is he gonna do?" And then somebody said, "Oh, that's his muscle. That's Dwayne's muscle." I'm just like, "You gotta be fucking kidding me, right?" That's what made it more funny for me. But the match itself, I thought it was kind of, I don't know how to say it. It kind of just felt just there in the beginning. Right? They were doing some things, but nothing over the top, nothing that crazy. The only thing I was looking for, and maybe that's why my focus was kind of just a little off, or just like not focused on other things, was the fact that Drew was going to win. Because, like you said, there was a report yesterday that says, "Oh, Drew McIntyre is going to win," and it came from somebody who's, in my opinion, not a trusted source. He's not. I mean,
he's done. Honestly, I really wish that you didn't even bring him up. He doesn't even need to be brought up. Hey, he's going to get dragged all over social media enough, and he's basically probably deleted the Twitter account now because he hasn't posted in 3 days.
Are you talking about Dr. Featherstone?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm fine with bringing him up because I think it needs to be brought up.
Yeah,
because it's like if you're wrong so many times and you constantly get it wrong, and then you can't and then you don't know how to handle yourself when you're wrong, and the wrestling Twitter tells you that you're wrong and you don't know how to react to it, then yeah, you definitely deserve to be dragged. And if somebody brings it up, definitely deserve to be dragged, in my opinion. But that's just me because I love chaos. But he was wrong with this. He was completely wrong, because even the whole aspect of Drew winning, it didn't really, when I heard about it, I was like, I know this is bullshit, because there's no way, right? And then you hear about the betting odds, and then people started focusing on that, like, oh shit, he's gonna, because of that. And then he started the match, and then he was the first one eliminated. So not only he was wrong, but then the guy he said I was gonna win was the first one eliminated. Right. And I just kept laughing the whole time, because I'm just like, damn. So you telling me that this report came out? So Drew goes from main eventing WrestleMania night 2 to facing Damian Priest in a regular match at WrestleMania. Cool. Good for him, I guess. But besides that, I do agree that the match didn't pick up until Cena, Seth, and Punk. Once it was those three, that's when the match for me picked up. And he did some good things, you know, Cena and Punk, you know, it just feels like a natural fit when those two work together. Like, you kind of really saw that. The whole aspect of Seth being involved as well. The only thing I would probably say that, you know, that was kind of a nitpick for me when it comes to like that final three was the way they were making like Punk like so super strong. Like how many finishers he took, and then how many times like Seth got him, and then it was like,
I really feel like Punk said some shit like, all right, if I'm gonna lose, I gotta kick out of everything.
Yeah, that's what it kind of felt like, and I was just like, what the fuck? Like, and I get it, right? In WWE, like that's how they kind of treat their stars, right? Like if they do one finisher, they're not going to kick out. I mean, they're going to kick out after, you know, they're going to kick out after the first finisher. But it's the fact that the way they just made it look, I was just like, I thought it was a little overly done, in my opinion. But then the finish itself, like, you know, Seth got his lick back to Punk, and then, you know, Cena puts in the SCFU, and then, you know, puts him to sleep. That's how he lost. So it still makes Punk look strong in that aspect because he didn't tap. He
kicked out of 400 finishers and didn't tap out.
Yeah, didn't tap out, and I guess that's just what it, you know.
And it was more of a choke than it was a STF too. That's what I liked about it. So it was kind of playing a little dirty, you know. That's what made it to me.
I loved him saying, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Same thing. It made it mad funny.
Yeah.
But I also like the fact, but it's also like when it comes to Cena, when it comes to that too. Remember, I've been saying it for weeks. I was like, when the whole thing came about The Rock getting somebody's soul, and then when we all were saying like, yeah, it should be Cena because it'll be something different, something big. I said the same thing. I was like, Cena is in the sense of he's desperate. because he's trying to win it. This is his last chance to win it. And I was like, he's desperate. So for him to line up with The Rock makes sense on that aspect because he felt like he needs it.
And he was losing to lames like Austin Theory. Yeah, I'd sell my fucking soul too if I was.
And he's basically sold the seeds with the whole interview that he did after the Royal Rumble, like the delivery, and him just declaring for the Royal Rumble, and then all the shit that everybody's been talking about him, saying that he didn't qualify, that he's a part-timer, you don't see him on his own retirement tour and all that. Like they sold the seeds, they set this up perfectly.
Yeah, they really
and that's what I like about it. That's what I like about it because again, like we're getting something different to that aspect of what we've been seeing from John Cena. But also, this is something you really needed because again, if you just put Cena versus Cody Rhodes for WrestleMania Night 2, even though that was the match that I predicted, at the same time I was worried about the buildup because just like at the time we were just like we know Cena's not going to win. So how the fuck are you going to build this up to make it interesting? And now because the turn happened, now it's kind of in those things where it's like, yeah, Cena has to win now because of the way they built it up. And, and then Cena wins number 17. I'm all on board for that, right? I'll be okay with that, him winning number 17.
And it would be Cody having the belt for a solid year. I do, since Josh brought it up, I do want to say something about Dr. Featherstone. I like him. I don't have any personal beefs with him, but here's the thing. When you work in this space, and I'm sure this has happened to you all and Sid and stuff, there's always leaks that come your way that you kind of have to vet, and if somebody in WWE, let's say it was fucking Triple H himself, or let's say it was Nick Khan or anyone, if they would have told me Drew McIntyre was winning this fucking match, I would have immediately knew it was a false flag. And I would not have gone to the public with that bullshit because it just makes no fucking sense at all. It just makes no fucking sense.
It sounded like more of a prediction than a report. Like that's why I was like,
that's been his problem.
It's a report.
Yeah, that's been his problem. I think that's more the problem that I've been having when it comes to like his reporting, because some of it seems like he hears something, then he runs with it. So when he runs with it, it sounds like a fact, right? It sounds like, it's something that he was told directly. And then sometimes he'll hear like, say like if there's like any type of like buzz on the internet, he'll look for it and then he will like act like it's a report. Like the whole thing with Penta, like, they're giving him, they're doing this, and then he reports like, WWE's giving him a nice little run, and she's like, bro, that's not fucking news though. Like we've been seeing it. So what are you doing? But then he got something wrong at World's End, and he didn't know how to handle himself. He didn't know how to handle himself when he was told like, hey, you were wrong about this. Right. And that's why for me it's one of those things where like, he's been right at certain things. I'll give him credit for that. Like he's been right on certain things, but then it's like when you're wrong, you better be prepared to take the heat for that. And if you're completely wrong and you're like, you're be prepared for that. And the fact that you massively missed with the Elimination Chamber, I mean, that's his biggest fumble.
Right,
today. He just needs to stop reporting. But if we're gonna call out people and we're talking about this angle here, Michael Cole fucking sucked. Can we get? Am I the only one who thought that? Like I thought Michael Cole fucking sucked. He missed the whole gold Rolex spot. Yeah. He said it was brass knuckles. He's like this was. I felt like this was a turn that they could have just let breathe. That they didn't have to say anything. They could have just let the turn happen without them talking all over it.
Right. Yeah.
I actually do agree with that.
I felt like that was the only thing that was off with the angle. The angle
Yeah.
itself, even with Travis Scott doing whatever he was doing, I think it added to the chaos of it all and just all of that. I like that. The people that felt the most off, even more than Travis Scott being randomly here, it was Michael Cole for me.
Yeah,
This is me saying that after I just complimented Cole for his performance in the KO and Sami match, but he fumbled here.
Yeah, so like I think when it comes to that, I think the best comparison I could say to that is like when there's a game winner for like a big championship game, right? When there's a big game winner, commentators tend to let that moment sit. They let it sit for like about 30, 45 seconds. I kind of felt like they really didn't do that. They really didn't let it sit. And then I think Michael Cole, I think what it was too is like he kind of overcompensated. Like he got angry, but then like he starts cursing, which is funny, is great, but then it's like, I mean, you kind of were messing up already when it comes to that. So I do see like your aspect of, because it's kind of like the year before when the Chiefs beat the Niners. It was a game-winning touchdown, and Tony Romo didn't let it breathe. He started talking, he started saying shit, and there was a lot of people who were pissed off at him for that because it was just like, bro, like you're doing too much. Shut the fuck up and just like let it, let it simmer. Like, so I do see that. Like now looking back at it, like I think Michael Cole kind of overcompensated with that, and then when he started cursing. Which was funny because I mean, again, we never heard commentators curse like in a long time. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I've always been one of those, like, I curse a lot, but I just don't think it's good. Like if you're using that as like you're kind of using that as a crutch or whatever the case may be. I'm not really a big fan of that. I just kind of like it. Like if it's natural and you mean it, it kind of did feel forced when it comes to that. So I do agree with like the commentating was kind of just a little. Yeah. I get it. They're trying to say like, oh, they were flooded because of they didn't expect this to happen. I get it, but then it's like you guys were prepared for this, so you could have worked on it better.
Yeah. The only thing I did kind of like was the shit bomb that Michael Cole dropped. I thought that was, I've never heard Michael Cole talk like that before. But yeah, he was flubbing all. He missed the Rolex spot. And he kind of, I think he discombobulated himself. I don't know what went on there, but yeah.
Yeah. It should be worth mentioning here. Sean Ross Sapp did report it as we were on live here. Travis Scott has been doing pro wrestling training. Sources claim to Fightful Select, and The Rock said that Travis Scott wrestling is a real possibility. So
yeah, he did say that on the press conference.
Yeah, he did say that yesterday.
Can't wait for the trios matchup of Rock, John Cena, and Travis Scott versus Cody Rhodes, Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, and Bad Bunny. Can't wait. Mm-hmm. Big time, folks. We got Will Chisholm who says, "I'm mad SP3 is selling me on this new world order." LOL. Yo, I'm here for it.
I honestly think that I wouldn't be surprised if Seth Rollins or Drew McIntyre find a way to join forces with Cena, right? Because anybody can play second fiddle to John Cena, it would make it just be like Hall and Nash. Like Hall and Nash were top guys with Hogan. But Hogan is Hogan, and I don't think it would be a bad thing if McIntyre and Seth joined up with Cena in like an unholy alliance,
I can see Drew. I don't know about Seth. I feel like that would be a little bit of retread from the Authority. And I don't want it to be compared to the Authority.
Right. So. Yeah, I do. And that's a good point too. So I hope, I'm not going to say what I think they're going to do because it's Triple fucking H and I don't know. I do hope they don't hit any of those Authority tropes. I want Cena to be unique in his role. Yes, he should be self-serving, but also he should bring his own unique spin to this. You know, it's just like being a Joker in the Batman universe. Like, no Joker is ever the exact same. They all bring their own shit to it. And I think that Cena, if he's going to take on this role, needs to bring his own thing. Don't hit on any of those authority tropes.
So one last question before we do our match of the night, MVP, LVP, thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle. If you haven't already, drop the thumbs up on the video. We got over 200 of you watching this stream across all platforms. Appreciate y'all for joining us today, and appreciate all the activity, all you guys commenting in the chat. Draven, a new name I see in the chat. Good to see you, good brother. He says Travis Scott being in there was like having Fred Durst in the ring when Austin turned heel, laughing face emoji. Maybe that would have worked out better business-wise if Fred Durst was in the ring. I'm just saying, it didn't work out business-wise. I mean, Austin turning at WrestleMania 17 is an all-time heel turn, but it's basically like it's good and bad. Because it was good in the moment and it was shocking, but it basically ended the Attitude Era and it led to a business decline for WWE.
Yeah. The problem with the Austin Hill turn is not the fact that they turned Austin Hill. It's the fact that they turned Austin Hill. They knew The Rock was going to be off the television, and they had nobody to replace Steve Austin with. That's always a thing.
Because Rock was going to go film his Mummy Returns.
Right, yeah. So if you're going to turn a guy...
No, Scorpion King, because he left a year prior to do Mummy Returns, and then he's filming Scorpion King in 2001. Right,
because I'm not a subscriber of, this guy sells so much merch, so you shouldn't turn him heel. I think that's a cop-out. I think you shouldn't turn him heel if you do not have a suitable replacement that is going to be the heir apparent to Austin. Not the next Austin, but somebody who's going to be almost equivalent to Austin. And they did not have that. Especially without The Rock there too. They had nobody, and that was a horrible fucking business decision.
And then it was even worse that they doubled down on it the next day and had Triple H align with Austin. The easiest thing they could have done was have Triple H turn babyface, and then you could try to make Triple H into the babyface, kind of babyface replacement for now until Rock returned in the summer. But they didn't even do that.
Yeah, I would have had him just after the reaction to that heel turn, just have him fucking stun McMahon in the ring and go back.
That's what he wanted to do. That's what Steve Austin wanted to do himself.
Yeah. Oh, right.
He said
that on a few interviews.
Yeah.
Yeah, he regrets it. He regrets it went the way that it went, and he was like that he should have just shook his hand and then give him a stunner. He was like, that's what he should have done.
Right. Yeah.
We got another new name in the chat. Apex, thank you for joining us today. A lot of new names in the chat. We appreciate y'all. Join us here. We're here pretty much 7 days a week. We'll be back live again on Tuesday for our Raw review. So very interested to see what goes down on the post-Raw edition of After Elimination Chamber. Apex says, great conversation, guys. Appreciate you for joining us. Dro Damian says, Seth was so close on being in the final two. Close, but no cigar.
No cigar.
But he got his revenge. So do you think we're getting Seth versus Punk or Seth, Punk, and Roman at WrestleMania, Chris?
I'm not sure. I think in this one instance, if a three-way would be okay just because of the names in it, and it won't be like you're forcing somebody in it. Because Seth Rollins in storyline, he actually hates both Roman Reigns and CM Punk. CM Punk doesn't really like Roman Reigns. He was kind of a enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of thing with him. So there's three-way hate that goes along. So I wouldn't mind the three-way in that match. Oh, I also wanted to say one more thing about the about Roman Reigns' heel turn. When Roman Reigns turned heel, it wasn't an arbitrary heel turn. They had Cody Rhodes kind of in the wings.
No, that's 2020. He turned heel in 2020. Cody was still in AEW.
I don't. That's if you don't believe that there was contract tampering going on. You could call me a conspiracy theorist all you want to. I think by the time Roman Reigns was turning heel, I think they kind of knew Cody Rhodes was over the horizon. So that's my.
No, I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you what factually happened. Like, no, they did not know that Cody was coming back. Cody did not know he was coming back in 2020.
Yeah, I don't believe that, but yeah, unless there's, it just seemed way too convenient,
No, by that time you had your Seth Rollins and stuff like that. So and you had the Fiend. The Fiend was the number one merch mover in 2020. So they had Fiend, they had Seth, they had Bryan, they had Edge coming back. Like, yeah, that's why they were.
And they had Drew as champion, right?
Drew was the champion.
And that belt was expensive as fuck. And that mask that the Fiend had was expensive as fuck too. But people were buying it. So.
Yeah. Josh, what about you? You think we're getting the triple threat?
Yeah, we're getting the triple threat. I'm fine with it. It kind of again, all the stories within that kind of in line with each other. So I mean, I'm fine with the triple threat. It is what it is. Now it's going to be depending on what spot that match is going to be on. Like, it's gonna be night one, night
main
two.
Main event night one. I'm sorry. This feud is bigger than Jey Uso. It's bigger than.
I mean, it is, and I agree with you on that. It's just, when it comes to the whole Jey Uso thing. For one, I didn't expect him to win the Royal Rumble, so I didn't even expect that to be the title match. That was not in my, in my bingo card. So, but when it comes to that, when it comes to Jey itself, I mean, I don't know what they're going to do with that, because obviously that's going to be more for the moment than the actual match. Because if he loses again, I mean, at that point, it's just like, take all the shit back. I mean, but I'm saying,
he's not losing. It's basically the question to WWE: do you want to open night one or night two with the Yeet celebration, or do you want to close night one with the Yeet celebration?
Yeah, no, I'm saying, but it's more so of like, if he was to lose, it would have been like, pack all that Yeet shit back up. Like, I don't need to see this anymore. So they're at a point where they need to give him the title. Because he lost it so many times already, and it's like at some point you got to pull the trigger on that. So I mean, the triple threat match, if it happens, I'm fine with that. Then now it's kind of like, hey, Punk still has that favor. What the fuck is the favor? So it's like,
the favor is Paul Heyman booking it as the main event of night one. That's the favor. He gets his wrestling.
Imagine if it's that. That'd be funny, because I'm just like,
that would be hilarious. Yeah, I just think I am sold on it mainly because I was not sold on it before, but the way they did the angle at the Royal Rumble, they made it necessary for Seth to be involved, because I was all for Punk versus Roman straight up one-on-one. But the way they did the angle at the Royal Rumble, the way they did the angle in the Elimination Chamber, it has to have Seth involved in it now.
Yeah. I think it would make sense. I wouldn't mind the one-on-one match, but I think the story that they're telling allows for the three of them. And again, it wouldn't be forcing Seth into the match. He fits naturally.
Yeah.
We got Cyclops is better than Wolverine. Says, "Damn, you really don't like Jey, huh?"
Where did you get that idea that I dislike Jey because of what I said? I'm just saying it creates problems for how they're gonna book him and how they use him.
Yeah, and
there's no dislike to that. There's actual problems when it comes to making him a champion and what they do going forward. There's problems to that.
Right, and I agree with Josh 100%. WWE does this every year. It seems like they'll say the person that wins the Royal Rumble gets to main event WrestleMania, and then when WrestleMania comes around, it's like Sheamus versus Daniel Bryan in the second match, and
that was the opener. That was the opener.
That was the opener. Said even worse. So shit. So it's one of those WWE platitudes, one of those superlatives that they use main event in WrestleMania. I hate saying it like this, but you can't take their word for it when they say that someone's gonna main event WrestleMania. And to me, just like in a perfect world, yeah, Jey Uso would main event with Gunther, but you got a fucking card with fucking CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, John Cena.
Well, we know Cody and Cena is the main event of night two.
Right,
it's all about night one,
and
it's really about the company selling us on the fact that Jey is going to main event over a potential Roman versus Punk versus Seth match, as well as a potential Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair matchup, as well as a Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair matchup, as well as there's so many other matches that you could put in that spot.
I could believe he'll main event over Tiffany Stratus.
Oh yeah, I can too. That's the only one of the matches that I named that I would say, he would main event over those. But Bianca and Rhea is a bigger matchup on paper than Jey versus Gunther. And Roman and Punk and Seth is the second biggest match on either night of WrestleMania.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying too. I just don't see Jey Uso and Gunther main eventing over any of those top guys. I just don't see it. I wouldn't mind it, but I just don't see it.
Yeah. And
I wouldn't mind it.
The fact that this would be, if Jey doesn't main event, this would be the first time since 2019 that the men's Royal Rumble winner did not headline a night of WrestleMania.
Yeah, and and when it comes to that, right? It's nothing against Jey. There's no dislike to Jey and him winning, because I was surprised as fuck when he won it. Now, in my mind, I'm just like, was it the right move? I could disagree with that, but doesn't mean I hate it. I don't mean, when it comes to that, but it does cause problems if you're going to do that. But also, I don't mind the fact that if it main events night one, I don't mind it only simply for the fact that, you have a world championship. You need to make it feel important at some point. It needs to main event a show. Last year it opened, right? From what I understand, it opened night 2, right? Because that's when the whole cash-in happened, which is fine. Even if it opens this year, either night, it's technically not a bad spot because, opening the show and it was a hot show and it's a high angle, that's all you really need to get the show going. So it's opening the show is not a bad spot. It's more of the logistics of Jey winning the Royal Rumble, making it feel that important, and then World Championship, you need to make it feel important.
Yeah. But let us know in the live chat your final call. What did you give the match of the night, the MVP, the LVP? Whether you gave the show a thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle, and out of 10, what did you give the show? We also got to holler at Call Me Mr. Bonda, who's been a member of the channel for 6 months. Thank you, Call Me Mr. Bonda, for all the support, being a member of the channel here. But yes, let's put our thumbs in the middle for WWE Elimination Chamber 2025 in 3, 2, 1. Thumbs up across the board. 2 thumbs up for me. I'm going to give this show probably the biggest score I've given for a WWE PLE since last year's WrestleMania. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 show. The Trish and Tiffy tag team matchup was probably the worst match on the show, but everything else delivered in its own way. Both Elimination Chambers delivered, as well as the Sami and KO matchup. And then we got probably the best ending to a WWE show since Cody finished his story at last year's WrestleMania. So 9 out of 10 for me. Kris?
I give it a 8 out of 10. And yeah, there was just too much like stupid shit going on, and Pat McAfee really got on my goddamn nerves, and he brought it down for me. But the last match of the show really did kind of wake me the fuck up. And I was ready to go to bed after that match. The show was so long, I had actually forgotten that The Rock was supposed to come out. So so when that music hit, I was like, oh yeah, I was seriously about to turn the TV off and like ask my wife if she wanted to go to the Yard House or something. And then that music hit. My wife heard it before I did. She's like, oh, you don't want to see The Rock? I was like, oh shit. And I had to go back to my seat and watch it. Yeah. So that
because originally that was actually supposed to come earlier on the show. That was actually supposed to be.
But no, they did. No, it wasn't supposed to. They literally did that to fool the dirt sheets.
Yeah. Oh, they did that.
It was. Oh, yeah. That's what Sean reported. Sean reported that was listed internally to fool the dirt sheets.
Yeah, you really have to be careful in this media age to trust sources that you have to have those sources very well vetted out, and you can't just report something and because you want to be the first person to report it. You have to not do that shit.
Josh, what about you?
I gave it 8.25 out of 10. It was a solid show overall. Both chamber matches, I thought they were solid, but nothing. It's not memorable when it comes to the history of the Elimination Chamber. The best match I did say was a non-sanctioned match, Sami versus KO. That was the best match of the night.
We're gonna give match of the night and everything. You're skipping ahead.
No. I'm saying. Well, I mean, I already said it earlier. I mean, that's my match of the night. I'm just saying, but I'm saying like I'm breaking it down why I'm grading it the way that I'm grading it. That was the best match of the night in my opinion. And then the tag match, I mean, I didn't necessarily just really didn't need it. But then also the overall show, I thought the problem I have with like a lot of WWE shows in general is like so much fucking dead airtime. I think that's always been my biggest problem. And it was like last night, it was just kind of like it got a little exhausting, but then it kept showing like pandering to the celebs who were paid to be there. And then it's like you could have used the spot for like another match. Like I don't mind having like 5 or 6 matches. They could have easily put Rhea versus Io for the show. And I get like, they're trying to, like, oh, it needs to be on Raw because of this or that. I get it, but then it's like, you could do anything on Raw. That's just how I feel about that.
All right. So what was your match of the night, Kris? Josh gives it to the unsanctioned match. What about you?
I give it to the main event, the men's Elimination Chamber. I mean, it led to one of the greatest moments in wrestling in the last decade, and that for me makes it match of the night because of what it led to.
I separate the match from the post match. It's a totally different segment to me, so I can't say, oh, the match is better because of what it led to. No, that could have happened on its own, honestly. So I will give the match of the night for me to
put it this way. If this was the old days and all I paid for, and I paid $60 and all I got was that men's Elimination Chamber match in that heel turn, I would have felt I got my money's worth because I didn't have to sit through the rest of that shit. If
I didn't have to sit through the commercials and the ad breaks, then yeah, I understand where Dion's coming from with the pacing of the show was bad. That's why it does get I see some people giving it a 9.5. It's not a 9.5 show, guys. There's a lot of issues with the show, but I think that
really like the WWE.
I know, but the heel turn at the end does elevate it. I think without the heel turn, this is like an 8,
it's like a
7.5.
It's like 7.5.
100% agree.
Yeah,
it's like a 7.5 show.
Yeah, but I would give that. Then match of the night, I'm gonna give it to the unsanctioned match, Sami and KO, and then MVP for the show. Got to go to John Cena. This man, after all these years, is taking the biggest risk of his damn career on his retirement tour. Man, he might, with this run, if it run delivers the way that it's set up last night, he may elevate himself in the GOAT conversation. Kris, who's your MVP?
This was really, really tough because I loved The Rock last night. This was the first time I loved The Rock in months because I really thought he told the story great. But you do have to give it to John Cena. I mean, he just like you said. I think it's a personal pseudo risk for him because this is going to control how he goes out, and it is going to establish where he fits in the GOAT conversation because he could come out of this being in more people's Mount Rushmore than he is, right? He's not in my Mount Rushmore. I don't even do Mount Rushmores, but he's
in my WWE. He's in my WWE Mount Rushmore.
Right? Yeah. But he's but I think if this turns out the way I think it will turn out, he's going to be in a lot more people's Mount Rushmore. He will shut up a lot of his critics. I'm looking forward to see, because I remember he did that interview with Chris Van Vliet a while ago where he was talking about how there were blueprints of a heel turn for him, and he had a singlet and a robe and a new track, a new theme song and all that shit. I want to see that, so I'm looking forward to the possibilities.
Josh, MVP?
John Cena. I mean, it's no debate. John Cena. As far as, we were saying about The Rock last night, I mean, it wasn't the worst, but then I don't know. With Dwayne, I think he's trying a little too hard. I think he's trying to get his acting skills up, which I appreciate because,
I don't think he tried hard last night, though.
He was very. I felt like he was very natural. That was the best performance he had since WrestleMania.
I'm saying, as in, like this year, he's been trying a little too hard.
Yeah, I agree with that.
No. That's what I'm saying. We're not judging him on everything. We're judging him on last night. He was good.
Last night. I mean, very measured last night.
Yeah, last night he was fair.
And that's light years. That's light years ahead of where he was last Friday. So I gotta give him credit for that.
Which I'm glad, because I think he probably was sober last night before he started drinking again.
Yeah,
I doubt it. He was hanging out with Travis Scott.
But he started smoking weed then. He was probably smoking weed before he started drinking. Because you know how weed makes you more.
That balances you out. But I will give LVP to the commentary team minus Wade Barrett. Wade Barrett was good, but Pat McAfee was awful throughout the night, and Michael Cole, I think, really, really overdid the heel turn when he could have just let it breathe. Josh?
Mine's is Pat McAfee. Just for the whole bitching about the national anthem, bringing it up several times, and it was overly done, overly stupid, and I just think, when it comes to stuff like that, he just needs to read the room. He didn't even need to acknowledge it. I don't know why it was acknowledged in the first place, because, again, we're in the situation we're in. It happened weeks ago already. I just thought he put more attention than it should need to be.
Kris?
Yeah, I have to give it to Pat McAfee by himself. I do understand where you're coming from, Sid, but Pat McAfee was extra levels of garbage. I just think about the whole year and how awful the Trump administration has been. And just 24 hours earlier, Trump and J.D. Vance had that horrible, god-awful meeting with President Vladimir Zelensky, and embarrassed us on the world stage. And he's over here getting mad at some bullshit. Pat McAfee can fuck all the way off, and he is my LVP. I might put him. He was so bad on this show, I might make him my LVP on the next show just so it could spill over because he was garbage, man.
Yeah. But that brings us to a close on our WWE Elimination Chamber 2025 review. Had a lot of fun with all of you. Had a lot of fun with Professor Kris, as well as the True Jaw Josh. Appreciate y'all for joining us. If you haven't already, drop the thumbs up. If you're watching us on demand, let us know in the comments down below what you thought about the Elimination Chamber. These were our views, our opinions. We want to hear from all of you, so comment down below and let's have a conversation over there as well. Want to thank Professor Kris for joining us today and give you the floor, sir. Let everybody know where they can follow you on social media, what you got going on, the NWA podcast, Post Wrestling, and everywhere else. Let the people know.
Right. So first off, I want to thank you, Sid, for allowing me to be on the show yesterday. Sometimes Sid asks me to join him on this show. Sometimes I ask if something is just so compelling. I'm like, Sid, you gotta let me on. And this last night, one of those days, I was like, Sid, if you don't have a full panel, do you have room for me? So if you hated me today, don't blame Sid. It was my fault. But, yeah, man. You can follow me at KM Easy Does It on Blue Sky. I still kind of use Twitter, but my main home is Blue Sky these days. And then we changed the name of the Kings of Sport to the Nefarious Media Network because we're encompassing a lot more than sports. And that thing is going to grow. I'm writing a book, and I still I got into an argument with my publisher, so that's kind of up in the air. But yeah, just follow me on the socials, and just tell me who you are, and I'll give you a follow back, and that's it.
Love having you on, Professor Kris. You know you're always welcome, good brother. Josh, floor is yours. Let everybody know where they can follow you.
You can follow me at JMPunk321 on Instagram because I'm still suspended on X. So the dumbest shit too. But anyway, yeah, I might actually be joining Blue Sky soon. I'm a look into it, see how it is, and then might join up there. But besides that, yeah, you can follow me on Instagram. I mostly use Instagram anyway. And I'll be back next weekend for True Hill Heat 319.
Yes, and I can announce now for anyone who likes to join us on Saturday for the flagship podcast. Next Saturday, we got one of our favorites joining us for that one. It'll be myself, Miss Chrissy Love, the True Jaw Josh, and special guest from Wrestle Talk, Sat Nyangi. He to me earlier today. He said he's going to be joining us next Saturday for the flagship, as we're going to talk more about this John Cena heel turn. After a whole week, we'll see where we kind of view it in the whole lexicon as far as one of the greatest heel turns of all time. So you have to look forward to that conversation, as well as we'll have our final predictions for AEW Revolution, which is next Sunday as well. But yes, tomorrow we got dropping our True Hill Heat cuts. So one of our cuts from the last couple of flagship episodes will be dropping on the channel tomorrow. Tuesday, we got Rated Raw reviewing Monday Night Raw on Netflix. Wednesday, we got our New Japan Cup preview, AE Ramble on Thursday. Or Friday, we got AEW Revolution preview. It'll be myself, Joe Holbert of Wrestle Purist, as well as Maggie from Fightful Overbook, as well as our very own J News. And then, of course, the flagship podcast on Saturday. Sunday, we'll have our watch party for Revolution. And next Monday, we'll have our Revolution review. So a whole big week of content for you to enjoy. So appreciate y'all for joining us today. You can follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3. Follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at True Hill Heat, and patreon.com/True Hill Heat. $3 a month gets you exclusive content and the best way to support us when we are not live here. Go out of your way and check out our flagship podcast from yesterday. That was one of our best episodes. If you want to hear Christy Love on one to the fullest extent, check out yesterday's flagship podcast. podcast. Josh knows what I'm talking about. But for Josh, for Dr. Kris Gilly, Professor Kris, thank you once again for joining us. It is me, your true heel phenom SP3, your true heel Negro Domus SP3, because the two-man Hollywood power trip is here. John Cena turned heel. This has been our WWE Elimination Chamber 2025 review. We are signing off until next time.